Good evening, TNT family. So we are back with you here on Yellow is the Code, and we are here discussing the election results, and we're trying to get some perspective from various citizens, whether regardless of where they are, some is in New York, some will be in different parts of the United States, and we do have Esau, which is uh, on the ground in Trinidad. And Isa, welcome to UNC USA. Yellow is the code, and I want to get some feedback from you as how you felt of the results of this general election, and what are you looking forward to with our new government.
Okay, good night, everyone. Thanks again for inviting me.
Good night.
My views on the election as a resident of especially from the Labrea area, is great to see that people finally wake up and came out in the support of the UNC and made the change that is required for the country. Because it's a long time PNM had a stronghold on that area. And it's good to see that people finally realize, hey, we need a change, and following the PNM is not the way to go forward. Because they're following a party for decades, and there's haven't been no improvement in the area. Everything keeps going down and down.
I Yeah, Sumant, I sent you an email. Check your email. I sent the link to you. Go ahead, Isel. I'm listening to you.
Yeah.
Yes, so we know
So,
we want you to share those views with the listening audience across the world, as to know what the people has gone through there, and what are they looking forward to.
well, the people more looking forward for as a area we could call a industrial estate area, for the area to be more developed. Because when you drive through that area from time you cross the creek going down to Labrea side, if you check, businesses that end up closing down. You don't have a bank in the area anymore. It have a lot of things that you used to have many years ago that is not there anymore. And for a party that people been following for all these years, when you think a place supposed to be getting better, we're bringing in revenue into our country and it's dilapidated. That shows you where their mindset was. They wasn't about the area doing anything for the people, but for themselves. From government to government, year
That
after year.
area, as far as we know, is heavily resourced, and we extract a lot of resource from that area,
Exactly. That
and
point
it's
forward.
right. And I
So
would
it
like
was
to get more people on
overwhelmed
this
to see that
program.
the
Go
people
ahead.
out in support of UNC from point 14, that whole area, Labrea, to really show that they fed up and they're ready for the changes of government and to move forward with the UNC.
The only thing I know about is the pitch lake. I never been there, as as a grown person, maybe as a young kid. I've been there with my father, but I would like to get more information what Labre is about. What's happening there, and from the people of Labre, being that you are from there. Does Labrie have a community center? Does Labrie have uh,
From they have a community center that was rebuilt, and they I think the PNM had a opening about 3 weeks ago, but the place is closed. They just had a function and they have the building closed.
so they just kind of throw something in there
They,
when it come into election?
they just had a ceremony for having a ceremony sake, I will say.
Right. It's just like the general hospital we saw in what they
And
call in Port of Spain there. I'm going to
Yeah.
welcome Arjun and Mr. Suman Singh. Suman Singh is out of Miami. So we are fortunate, gentlemen, to have Isel, who is originally from Labrea. So she's sharing some, some information to us that is, we are very deeply appreciate having it, and having her being that, we just was able to bring in Labrea and confirm today. And I am so excited to just have Isel here with us, and Isel sharing a little bit of information. So go ahead, Isel.
Hi, thank you.
So anyone has any questions for Isel, Sumand, or Dr. Maraj?
Yeah, I would like to find out from Isel whether was it the younger people came out or older people or or, or who were the people really looking for the change and what exactly they think they're looking for?
I believe it's more of the
And
youth also, where they
and
tend
why?
the middle-aged to the youths because a lot of the youths and also because I
Yeah,
encourage my nieces, my nephews, my daughter, them
yeah,
within the ages between the ages of 19 and 25
yeah.
and get the friends involved to ensure that they go out and they vote. And they said yes, they want to see something happen within the communities, within the areas, because they say from year to year it's the same thing and place just getting worse, getting depressing, getting dilapidated.
Mhm.
And from ever since these kids know the PNM have been doing nothing for the people of the area, within the community, within the areas that they are in charge of.
Yeah,
I mean, those could be some of the kids that Mrs. Bizesa gave a laptop to when they were got entered
Well,
to
we're never going to
high
school
school.
exactly.
So they know the benefits. They know the benefits from her, and I am
What
so
was
happy to see this
exactly?
happening.
but I've been to Point quite a few times, Point Fortin and Labrea, but I hardly visit further down Cedros, maybe about two times only. Um, I I I was always confused that Labrea and Point were voting PNM so consistently over time because I could understand why it is that people vote against their own self-interest. I mean, it is not their interest to have a PNM who at one point said that that area of the country belonged to Venezuela and not really Port of Spain, because Port of Spain, that's as soon as they head down all the way down to La Brea, you're already heading towards Venezuela. That was made by a former prime minister of Trinidad and Tobago. So I never understood why it is that these people, all these years, they had no road. They couldn't. The Mosquito Creek is their main artery, and they couldn't even use the road. It was so often they had the salt water will wash into the car, or they'll rusty the car, and the car will have to, every 5 years they had to change the bottom of the car because they'll do repairs and these people keep on voting PNM year after year, and that was very confusing. That how you could vote against your own self-interest. People protect their own interests and like to see themselves get better in life. But how could we supporting a government that doesn't care about your infrastructure? And here I'm not talking about government mustn't do things for you. Government really doesn't should only help you in extreme situations. But things like roads and water and lights and those necessities, infrastructure, that is a crime. Of course, crime. That is a government business.
But
Any
yeah, I mean,
government that
listen,
cannot.
you depend on that's why that's why you hire a government. I mean, and the
Right,
government basically
right.
is like the parent of the country. The government is
Yes.
supposed to
In
provide
that regard. No, in
certain
that regard.
resources so that
Yeah.
you can build yourself. If you look at the comparison to what Mrs. Vicesa did in a short space of time compared to the PNM long history of being in government, there is a drastic difference. And after the last 10 years, we see in government here with the PNM, but the first thing Dr. Rowley telling the people, oh, this is no gimme government, wean yourself off the government. But the government, on the other hand, wean themselves as most as possible, offers Dr. Rawlings give himself a 47% raise, right? And this is what we see is
Exactly.
a self-interest. Go ahead, Isel, go ahead.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
is
go ahead.
exactly that is what he did. You watch old people pension. You tell them that they mustn't have more than a certain amount of money in the bank, otherwise they're not entitled to a pension. But what's your pension to the 250 2,500 you're giving old people every month to the pension you took home?
And then
Look at
he
this
could travel. He could travel overseas.
How
compared to
much
what
is
he
it?
does to the old people. You telling old people if they have $20,000 in the bank, they're not allowed to have you're taken out with a pension. What $20,000 to do to a senior citizen who have medical expenses, who have to still pay the bills? Then they have property tax add on to that.
Well, it really tells you you're supposed
And
to
they
be
have to
poor.
pay this what 2,500 could do for a senior person.
Poor,
Sumant
poor,
is over here in the
poor.
US and Dr. Maraj is here, and we know the consequences of property tax for a retired person here in the US. Where you can lose your property. And I I ran for mayor in 2011 here in New Jersey, and one of the things that they were concerned about is that they were on Social Security, which is like our pension, and they were worried about losing their home. We have people working in Walmart and different little convenience store just to catch up because them have to choose what they eat and how they can pay for their medicine because their medicine you have a copay. You don't get 100% coverage here in the US. And so when you work your life for a house and they want to tax you based on the structure they have here. This is, you see, the PNM government were picking and choosing conveniently what they were wanting to bring and compared to Trinidad, than what they see in the US here to their benefit. But there's a different structure here, and then you had certain goods and services you were paying for. And in fact, right now there's schools in cities in New Jersey here where the schools have to cut their programs because of lack of financing because the taxes are going up too high. I mean, and you talking about anywhere from 10 to 15, $20,000 you paying on taxes is like you're renting your own house. So, and then when you can't pay, the city takes your house within a period of time. So we don't want that from Trinidad, especially when most of us never got any help from government to
Exactly.
achieve.
If I may chime in a little bit, Gary.
Yeah.
Go ahead, guys.
I'm, originally from the constituency of Price, about we're the next to Labrea.
Mhm.
And it's only in 1986 that was changed hands. For 30 years, that constituency remained under PNM grips. And prior to 1986, prior to the NAR, when the NAR came in, it was always PNM. That alongside Point 14. And I couldn't understand the reasoning behind it. I mean, it's like a depressed community, especially in Labrea. And they voted for the PNM right through, at least as long as I can remember. So it coming over to UNC now says something. But I was looking at some of the statistics today, yeah, and what is showing that the overall PNM support was much less because the people did not go out to vote. And it's the opposite in the UNC. So the UNC had a good turnout from the voting population, whereas the PNM is most areas they just didn't go out to vote. And that was the same strategy we used in 2010 to get Barataria and all these places. We had to beg these people, do not go and vote. We know you're on the other side. Give us a chance. But just, you could do that by not voting for us. And that's how we really took over Sama Barataria. I was living in Sama Barataria at that point in time. I worked with Fort Can when they did the in 2010 election. So this
So
is
for
a
what, right? So for what you're saying, really, it is the PNM not showing up for their own party
correct.
that gave them such a low number at the polls. Is
Yes,
that what
that's
you're saying?
contributing
How do you,
reason. Yes.
right? My question then is this: how do we know that the people that voted for UNC, that it couldn't be only UNC people and COP and whatever, but they have some PNM or whatever percentage? Is there any way we could know? Is there? I mean, that might be known later on
Could-
because you
You have
survey
to
and
look.
find it out.
Yes,
But,
I
but
guess
the
you could
question
look.
I'm asking you, the question I
Uh-huh.
want interested because what you're saying is making a lot of sense. But I want to know, how do we know that the PNM didn't cross over and they didn't vote for PNM, but they vote for UNC instead, or whichever one of them, PEP, whatever PEP, or uh, whichever the other one of the coalition partners. That's
All
my
right.
question.
Okay.
Guys, can I jump in and make a
Yeah, jump
contribution?
in, please. Please jump in.
Yeah. Good night, everyone. Arjun Harry Paul. I'm sorry to be so late.
Okay.
But to
Hi,
answer the
hi.
question
Hi,
that
good
Mr.
night.
Maraj, hi, good night. To answer the question Mr. Maraj is asking, I think it would be fair to say that the UNC has a voting bloc, a base, if you wish, of around 300,000 people. And I'm saying this based on the results of the last three general elections, 15, 20, and now 25. Um, in yesterday's election, they got 320 or
Six,
25, somewhere there.
326, 326 here.
Right, 326,000. So it means then that we can assume, without having the data to prove it, that about 26,000 people who are not traditional UNC voters voted for the UNC. Now, where did those people come from?
Hello.
I would suspect that some of them are disgruntled PNM people who, would have registered a protest vote against the UNC, because by and large, I think the majority of them protested the nonsense that was happening in the party by saying, you know what, we're just not going to vote, and they stayed away. But a small percentage of them would have gone to the UNC, and we could have seen that from, if the UNC was able to translate um, the support they were getting in the rallies into votes, then we could safely assume that some PNM people came over and voted for the UNC. Then what also happened in this election, there was an amalgamation of the opposition forces. So obviously the other political parties whose support base would be small, but you can't discount the people who came across from those other parties, the PEP, the COP, and so on, who would have also voted for the alliance, the amalgamation of parties, right? So I think,
Coalition of interest here.
yeah, the coalition. So I think you would have to say that that extra 26,000 or thereabouts would have come splintered from different segments of the population.
Or
That's my
non-affiliated voters, young people like
Also, yes, I'm now going to
Isabel.
yeah,
say that the young
That's
people
yeah,
also came out.
right.
that's what
Right,
I
right.
was
So,
thinking.
so that's 1 second, guys. I have Dr. Parun Maraj, and he looks like he's still at work. So, I want to give him a couple minutes because I'm not sure how long he can stay with us. And Dr. Parun Maraj, give us a little introduction to yourself and let the people of Trinidad and Tobago, both at home and internationally, know a little bit about you and
Uh,
what you're looking
well,
forward to Trinidad.
thank you, Mr. Gary. Good night to all. Good night to Trinidad and Tobago. My name is Dr. Parum Maharaj. Very grateful to be online here today to the country. And I'm very happy to know that Trinidad is going to be free from the PNM cancer. As we all know, Trinidad now has hope, and I am willing to support in all ways, in the medical terms and other terms as well. I will be on all through you with you all today. I have time for this country.
So tell us a little bit about your skills and what you offer into Trinidad and Tobago, a little bit of your background so the international audience can know that we have our citizens across the globe that listens to this program and in Trinidad also.
Okay, well, I'm a specialist in general medicine, internal medicine, and also stem cells as well. I was trained in Venezuela and in other countries as well in medicine. One of the most important things that Trinidad needs right now, when I was there the past time, is the health system. It has to improve for everyone. Doctors have to be properly well trained in the medical field. Yeah, very good doctors, yes, I know, but it needs to be increased. The health service in Trinidad and Tobago, it needs to be, right? Technology, medical technology as well needs to be introduced in the country, because here in Venezuela, we have a lot of high technology in medicine, just as the US or in England. Most of the medical facilities here are free of charge. There are a lot of people coming into the country here for treatment of cancer, treatment of diabetes. Now we can even cure diabetes practically here. And a lot of heart disease, different type of heart disease that we have here. So
you are currently in Venezuela? You're back in Venezuela?
yes, I just reached back today. Right?
Oh, you just reached back today, okay.
Yeah, because I will be back again in a few days. I just came up here to get some actualizations on some studies, right, that I'm doing here. Now, well, the technology that I have in Venezuela is very high, and I am willing to give this service to Trinidad and Tobago, to the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, right? And help a lot of people which people was denied of this type of help, this type of treatment, something that we have here. No? I was also in a military hospital working there, and I've been trained as a military doctor as well. No, so technology is not a problem here, and this technology I will like to carry it or send to or give to Trinidad and Tobago, serve the country with this technology here, and treating the people that is needed, very, very in need.
And help train some of our doctors too.
Yes.
You know, Dr. Maraj, Dr. Parun Maraj, because I have two Dr. Maraj here, one in finance and one in medicine. We had a situation here a couple days ago, last week, where we had, this is the story, a young lady, her mother had some circulation in the leg. They had to insert a stent, and apparently the leg, when they insert the stent in the leg wasn't healing. And I'm happy you reached out to me. So this is what happened. So they took her back to Mount Hope, and because the foot looked like it's getting bad, so somehow they didn't treat it right with the antibiotics. There has to be some issue. You would know better than that than me. So they stuck a needle under the skin of the hand instead of putting it into the vein for an IV. All right, I'm gonna send you the pictures. We go talk some more. And
all right.
And it caused the hand on the top surface of the palm of the fist to get bad, right? And so they dismissed her out of Mount Hope because it was the holidays. And okay, you here, brother? What's going on here? And they ended up taking her to San Fernando to try something, and San Fernando was a little bit nicer, but they had to remove the flesh on the top of the fist because it became deteriorated. It was getting bad, and they had to cut it out. and they cut this flesh. They didn't seem like they gave the lady enough anesthesia because she balled down the place. And
Oh my
then,
God.
and then they wasn't dressing it now. We appreciate the help we got on the staff from the hospital, but then now they're not changing the dressing on a daily basis. And then they say, I'm going to bring you back when she's here. Then they say, maybe tomorrow also. Uh, then they say that they don't have the machinery there to do the angio. So she has to go back to Mount Hope to get the angio because Savannah doesn't have the equipment there and they can't do anything further for her there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a back and forth thing. Now, she spent 3 days at Mount Hope on her wheelchair waiting for a bed and couldn't get a bed. And I had to contact people from the Ministry of Health
Wow.
and various doctors asking for help. So we see how much we need people like you, Dr. Parun Maraj in Trinidad and Tobago. And I will bring you as much on this program so that our country understands what your skills are and what you can do for us and how you're willing to work alongside our UNC government to assist. So go ahead, gentlemen.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, can I make a next comment here? Okay, here we are trained in angiology. We do not take diabetics patients to make amputation. We don't do that here.
You
There's
treat the
walnut
leg.
four
You
from
treat you
walnut
treat
2, 3, 4, right? It does not get to walnut 4 or 5. We treat it, right? And I see there in Trinidad, a lot of nurses are not well prepared. They don't allow nurses to be prepared. They don't allow them every nurse to be prepared to make an IV access. You have to have a license and blah, blah, blah. A lot of limits, right? Now, what we can arrange is that for every nurse have proper training, like the Cubans. Every Cuban nurse know how to make sutura, sew up suturas, put IV therapy and intensive therapy. Right? I met nurses who work in Trinidad and does not know how to make put an IV. That is carelessness. Right? Here in Venezuela, if you do not help a patient, being a medical doctor, and you are leaving the hospital and the ambulance came in, and you left the hospital with the ambulance came in inside, you can get to prison for that, right? Here we don't have holidays and say send a patient home because it's a holiday or because it's 2 o'clock in the morning and you're tired and you have to go and sleep. No. Health is very serious issue here. Very, very serious, right? So the seriousness in Trinidad about the health problem, that is very, very big, and that that problem have to get down as fast as possible, right? So we cannot play with people's life because it's a holiday. I'm not agree, right? We
Listen,
work here 24 hours.
we have gone through 10 years of pure hell in Trinidad and
Yes,
Tobago under this government, and you would know some of that was taking place. Our people spend days in the hospital waiting, and if you don't have your own wheelchair, they could take away the hospital wheelchair, put you in a chair. Now they had this lady sitting there for 3 days,
3 days.
and don't even clean her. All right, her family has to come and clean her, and they were restricting how they could come in and out, and all these kind of things. You're not taking care of the patient, and then you're restricting the family from helping her. So I mean, this nonsense. I mean, I am so happy that some of my people came to their senses and voted out this
Yes,
government and send them. I don't want to see a return of the PNM. Absolutely not. We must make sure that doesn't happen. And I am calling on all of us, regardless of where we live in the world, to help our UNC government to succeed so
yes,
that we can provide the best level of service for people so that they would have no regrets voting UNC. And you know what I'm saying to you? And we have to make our government succeed because the PNM will try everything to derail us because they still have their people in place in the various ministries that would try to create
Robert.
holes for us.
Yep.
And I want to bring all of our citizens on board as possible to assist, lend their support, their ideas, and all these different things So go ahead, gentlemen. Anybody has any questions for Dr.
Let
Maraj?
me just take in a little bit. I just endorsing what you say, Gary. But the problem in Trinidad to execute these things is really the public servants. And the
Mhm.
problem there is in 2010, I did the laptop project, and I told you 22 directors in the Ministry of Education were part of the PNM. They belong to PNM party groups. So how can you move that forward? That's why it has about 3 months backlog. They were just holding up the project, holding up the project, till they asked me to come in and do the project for them. I did 6 months of work in 3 months. And
Oh.
because my affiliation with Microsoft and so on, my relationship with them, I got additional software at no
Mm-hmm.
cost to the government. And also I saved the government 30 million in the project. 30
Wow.
million out of 85 million, it came down to just about 55 million. That's right. And that project now, the laptop project became a blueprint. I made sure that
Mm-hmm.
was a blueprint. So anybody come after that has a blueprint to follow.
Right.
So these are the
Right.
things. But Dr. Maraj, I
Yes, sir.
recently did a lot of inputs in the manifesto for the UNC recently,
Yeah.
and like do the cat lab in all the major hospitals and so on, especially Sando. I'm a South boy myself, from Weisbad. And
Mm-hmm.
I use the Mount Sinai model here because I'm in AI
Uh-huh.
and healthcare as well. Only one healthcare is just one part, but I do business, tourism, social media specialists, marketing specialists, and so on. And we found that in talking with the senior head of the Department of Neurology at Mount Sinai in Miami Beach, he's saying that they use AI to read these, the output then from the MRIs. So you read an MRI, the first line of, let's say, getting the overview, getting the results of the MRI itself to identify key, what they call pain points, certain parameters, is done by the AI. And it used to be just 2 years ago, it used to be like in the 70% accurate, 75. Now it has gone up to 92% accuracy. So let's say somebody has a stroke and in the brain, he was telling me that, oh, AI does everything now for you because the
Mm-hmm.
accuracy is better than humans. Prior to this, they used to send all these MRIs to Bangalore in India to be
Uh-huh.
read by the radiologists. Why they did that? Because the night time here corresponded to the daytime there. So they do the MRI here in the night. It goes up to Bangalore, and comes back in the morning. First thing in the morning, the doctor here in Miami has it in their desk. But now they
Right.
said they no longer do that. The AI does it for them, and they just check to verify, what the AI is saying is correct. So that has eased up a lot of them, a lot of work from the doctors, themselves, specialists. So I try to incorporate that in the model, which I did in the manifesto, along with other things, other aspects of the new health structure. So if you by any chance, if you go on the UNC website and you go through the Ministry of Health or the new health policy that is recommended under the UNC, you will see a lot of recommendations like the 24/7 diabetics, the cleaning of the blood. Then do go at home, visit at home patients, elderly patients, differently able patients. You can see them at home.
Mm-hmm.
And also having doctors in the schools to identify
Yes.
learning disabilities like eyesight problems, and also,
Mm-hmm.
primary schools are going up. These initiatives are really low-hanging fruits, and we have 380 doctors unemployed in Trinidad right now, some pumping gas. So why
So
not?
I just want to jump in there for a quick second. Suman, so you live in the United States and you understand how we utilize the information technology along with the
That's my
medical,
major. That's my
right?
major body. You know, I'm
Right.
master's
So
MD in
what this is
information.
what we need in Trinidad. So I want to keep you fully engaged on this end of things, you know, so
Not a
that
problem.
we
Not a problem at
right.
all.
So and we know we will break it down to Trinidad and Tobago what we're trying to do here. So and then we have Dr. Puran Maraj with his skills from Venezuela, and I've seen some of his work. I almost jumped out my pants. So he sent me some of those pictures.
Right.
Doing some heart surgery and
Excellent.
things like that.
Excellent.
So our you know the situation is, even though what I see is like some people study a book and they tell them there's doctor and they put them out there. They don't give them right, Puran? They don't give
Yes.
them the necessary training in the hospital like how we do here in the US. And I want to bring up people who are trained, who left Trinidad and Tobago, went overseas, and expanding their skills and see how the job is done. I mean, we have seen too many women die in cesarean out of Mount Hospital. I mean,
Oh man.
we have seen the thing with the with the babies dying, right? And this government, they shut down the Cuba Hospital, right? They shut down the Cuba Hospital
What?
that Kamala had built under the PPG government, right?
And that
That
is
brand
done
new,
out of spite. That is done out
yeah.
of spite. Eh?
Out despite, and they were mashing up the road. They stole the equipment because it was state-of-the-art equipment. And this is something you would have loved to get involved with, Puram. Being that see that level of things that we did there. And Suman, I sure you were involved with the technological part of things there.
Well, not only that, sorry,
Yeah.
Gary, but I really have 5 main specializations. If you saw my email I sent to you and the one Kamala sent to me,
Yeah.
and I forwarded to you yesterday. My skills are in education, health, business, digital marketing as a strategist, strategic planning, and artificial intelligence. I'm also a data analyst. So all
Right.
these
Well,
come out and an economist by first degree.
So this is where those skills come in handy for you managing the IT operation, right?
right.
Number
Yes.
any area you select to
Well, I'm
me,
just saying, but for as I'm saying, for the info, so for managing the information technology team, working alongside various ministries, whether it's the health sector or the education or even government, the various ministries. We need this across the board.
yeah,
They're
but
doing
as director,
digitization for the longest time. We need the
yeah,
school books. We need to digitize the school books, right?
right.
And put everything online so the children don't have
Yes.
to carry a big load, a truckload, need
About
a books and strain their back. We have enough of the situation like
And
that.
have books
And
that they
then,
don't even use in the school. They just have the parents
right,
buying books and they're
eh,
not even
eh,
using
Yeah.
them.
yeah.
It's called
Yeah.
exactly,
ebooks. It's called ebooks. So
right. And so there's quite a bit of things that we have to fix, right? I mean, our children, Kamla built so many schools, our children have to take 3 and 4 taxis. I used to have to take what? When I graduated common entrance, I have to take 2 or 3 taxis to get up to St. Augustine,
oh,
right?
okay. Mm.
Yeah. And get up 5 o'clock in the morning. Leave 5 o'clock in the morning. Not get up 5 o'clock. Leave 5 o'clock in the morning to get there. Right. So I mean, we have a security issue with the infrastructure of things right now for our children getting to and
Mhm.
fro school, getting home. I mean, they have homework. The lack of time they have to travel. It's unsafe. So there's a lot of things we have to fix. And I want to keep this team fully engaged, where we are pushing for these things. We are sharing our ideas, and and providing the technical support that is necessary. We have the Ministry of National Security's a lot of upgrading too. So Sumat, here you come in again.
Let me tell you, Gary, what you saying there in 2010, 2010, I was working with the Cambridge consultants out of the UK, and we had a similar system to do ebooks at that time. We had, like, let's say QRC has the best math teacher,
Mhm.
or and St. Mary's or presentation has the best chemistry teacher. That teacher will teach everybody in Trinidad chemistry by being online. So, and then
Yes.
in mathematics, my sister-in-law used to teach mathematics at QRC, Queen's Rock, plenty scholarship. You could have do the same thing with mathematics. The
But
best mathematics
that is very
teacher.
important. I'm gonna tell you how, because you see, the thing about it is we get the teacher go up on the blackboard and he write the thing and he erase it before you can get it. This way, if you didn't grasp it, you could go back and look at it.
It's
Right?
available 24/7.
Right. So so this is highly critical, because a lot of us, including myself, was too slow. By the time I get in and ask the question, he had no time, class done, and nobody to help you.
Yeah. It's
Right?
called school-based management system.
Right.
So, and then again, my specialized in management information system. So the workflows and so on was already worked out. We have, the point about this is that you level the playing field. So the student in
Vicinity.
CDRAS or TOCO has the same opportunity. He's getting the same level of teaching. The same chemistry teachers who teaches the bright guys and prayers and naps and QRC and St. Mary's and so on. It is the same one teaching the guys in Superior, as the case may be. So there's no discrimination. It levels the playing field. And we have so many good and outstanding teachers in Trinidad, man, you can't
Mhm.
believe. But
Yes,
you're
that's true.
going up against the system is what negates performance.
Well, we have a lot of fix with that. I mean, there are some teachers who are brilliant and they're not good teachers. So that is something we have to monitor how that is done. So a lot of the suggestion was like, it was Mrs. Bisesa saying now that the police is going to be in the school. This was some of the things that I was suggesting. The police cannot be coming. The police has to be within the school system, and we need that patrol when the kids are being dismissed or come into school in the morning, that you have those extra patrol, including the police in the school, right? Because we have another situation where the teachers are not safe, right? And when there's a situation there, I mean, by the time response comes, just like anything else, you're dead. And we have a lot of teachers in fear. We have a lot of good teachers have unnecessary stress with that. So the school system was something we had to break this down piece by piece. There's a lot of things needed. We need doctors in the school. We need nurses in the school. We
Correct.
have what 200 doctors that are not things. So we need these people,
386.
right? We have Dr. Gopi Singh still around to guide us with
Yep.
all his experience. He's internationally educated and trained and highly skilled. I have also sourced some help from here, from the US, which is willing to participate in training our people. I was just waiting for our leader to take our government. So Isel, you hear that? So we have a lot of good things in store for
Yeah,
to help our youth. So tell our people to be patient. Tell our young people, that we all doing this together. We're bringing everything on board to assist our government. We've seen some of the people here with us here, and they're much more behind the scene. So a lot of good things in store to assist our government there. So go ahead, guys.
If I may jump into the health, I recommended a health card way back in 2010, that we should have a health card, a personalized health card.
In fact,
Yes.
that was suggested, right? That was
That
suggested.
was
One of the
suggested
things,
way back then. I would suggest it again this time. And
right? Yeah.
finally,
So remind them. It's good to remind her, and so that you swipe the card and all your healthcare information comes up in an emergency
yeah,
situation.
I don't know, Dr. Marat, if you're familiar with my chart, like Mount Sinai has a my chart. I have it my app on my phone here, so that
All your results are in there. They put
all
it up.
my blood result, blood work, my cholesterol level, it says 115. HDL is 55. LDL is
Right.
another 50, and VLDL is 15. Like that, all your blood work, your creatinine level, your bile level, and all these other things that go with all the health blood test, so to speak.
So you go to a different hospital, all the information is there. They pull it up.
So I think I hope when I go back to Trinidad and I show them, my chart from outside, they can read it and understand. Well, hey, this is the last EKG you did was excellent, like that. They can be able to interpret
what medicine you on, all these different things, your X-ray results, everything.
That's what I was going to tell you about the AI. When you do an X-ray and a MRI and so on, it now goes a step further and tells you for the condition you're experiencing, it's recommending the medication best suited for your condition. So if the doctors don't have to go through the stresses of trying to figure out which, is the best combination of medication for you. This is how AI is influencing healthcare, especially in Florida here. It's taking off big time. So it's like a one-stop shop. It gets your X-ray done or your MRI, and the AI takes over from that point. The specialist checks it at the end to verify what has been done. And it's a much speedier way of treating, let's say, hundreds of patients for the day, rather than 5 or 6. That's the AI and technology component of the healthcare. But the health card is important because when you go to the health center, Dr. Gopi Singh and Dr. Bodo, who is my neighbor in Trinidad, they used to tell me, boy, when a doctor has to see 100 patients in the nursing home, in the health center. My wife is also a doctor. It's the same thing. She says she only writes prescription. How can you treat 100 patients in 4 hours time, 8 to 12? You can't.
A patient waits 2, 3 hours to see you or more. Well, in Trinidad, maybe 3 days, and you spend 5 minutes.
You look at 5 minutes, 2 minutes. All they ask is, everything okay? Or what's it? Everything, the medication same as last time. Okay, they write the prescription. Go to the pharmacy outside there and collect it. That's it. That is not healthcare. That is not healthcare.
And we need the preventative. One of the things that we don't do is the preventative healthcare, and this is something we need to work. Where Dr. Pura?
Well, here we based on that system that Dr. Singh, that technology, we have that here in the military hospital here, and it's one of the most efficient way of health. And also we train the doctors. The doctors have to be very well trained, not depending on the AI only, right? Now here, doctor takes almost 12 years to prepare himself, 5 to 6 years to make a specialist, to be specialist, But the AI is very good, My attention is this situation here in Trinidad of the maternity is very, very bad. Here in Venezuela, when you have a death in maternity, that is serious problems here, serious investigation going on, right? They don't make joke with that here. An infant die, that is serious problem here. I see that in Trinidad, they don't really care about that. You die and that's it. Right? A patient, when a patient comes in emergency, everybody moves, right? So you cannot do that. Is very unjust for a person to be an hour. That is that is in an emergency. The word emergency and urgency is they don't know that word over there. But how can you have a woman 3 days in the hospital waiting to be attended? That is not humanism. That is breaking human rights. The citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, below this government of PNM, take away all the humanity from its own citizens, right? No humanity. When I know Mount Hope was the top one, the top hospital in the Caribbean. Now it's the worst. It's the worst because of this government, right? 3 days you have to wait. No, that cannot be. So we have to train doctors more, put the AI system more, give the people security. Because when I'm going to the hospital, I go in and get treated. I know a lot of persons that when they was there in Trinidad, they get sick. They don't want to go to the hospital because they're afraid they will die in the hospital.
Mhm.
Prefer to do the treatment in the house. You understand? So this spitefulness closing down the hospitals because Kamala put it up or build the hospital or something. That is spiting Kamala. They're spiting Trinidad. They're spiting the people. That is wickedness. A wicked government neglecting the health of its own people.
Well,
Right?
that is
So we
for
have,
sure. That is for sure. Because there's a campus they are almost built in Debe, a UV campus south. That would have been the UV campus south.
Mhm.
And they just stopped the project altogether. It's about 80% completed. I drive through there last year when I went there, and all vines and bush take over the whole place. They pump millions of dollars into that. But that's one of the things she said she's going to open back. In fact, I recommended that we make Debe, once you do that, make Debe as part of a smart city concept. So
Mhm.
that, you know, a lot of students will be there, make use of this, use it as a pilot project.
This racist cabal in the PNM don't
Aha.
want anything go in that direction. Let's call it as it is, okay? But I'm
Yeah.
happy. I'm happy that our citizens come to realization and decided to deal with them severely. But the racist cabal is still existing, right? And they're looking for
Uh-huh.
any opportunity to cause division. But we, a lot of the things that I've suggested was the decentralization of things, sending everybody into Port of Spain to do their business, creating unnecessary traffic. So there's a lot of things we have to
Yeah.
talk about. I mean, Point Fortin Hospital was built. I'm not sure how much operational it is. Mayaro, where all the oil drilling and all that stuff is being done there. The fire station built. They can't get the necessary equipment. If
It
I
have
ever
no equipment in the,
ambulance,
in the station. No. I been to
the police,
Mayaro.
yeah,
The fire station is empty.
the police station don't have paper. I mean, just imagine in this age and the here again it comes to man, the technology. A police could go with an iPad, right,
That's what they do
and take
here.
a report,
Yeah.
and that upload in the system wirelessly before you reach the station. And any station, any detective could pull it up, right? That is what we need. So I heard Alexander making an example of the other night talking about an officer can go with a device and then come back and lodge it. Let me tell you something. The minute you put it in from where you are, it's supposed to go up wirelessly. You
Correct.
know?
Mhm.
Correct. You see, the thing is, you know, it's simple thing like the health card, but that can be tied into, you know, like fingerprinting, and you know, you have some sort of personal information that law enforcement can also use. They can, you don't want to have 5 different cards. Leave that for credit cards and banks and things. But you have a health card that will also work as an ID card or as an alternative ID card. It will also work as an alternative driver's license, and make it like an all-in-one card if you can, to a large extent. So they catch you speeding on the highway. Take your card and just swipe it on your iPad. It sees up all your
Driving
charges
records.
you have, a driving record, all right off the bat. If you get into an accident, you swipe the same
Yeah.
card. You get on what blood type he is in, what type of medication he's in, blood thinners, or what is it? You know, all these things you can get from the same card. It's a multi-purpose card.
Yeah,
So
so we want to keep the medical card separate from the driver license, though. The other
yeah.
thing is, though, like for here, example here in the United States, when you get picked up by an ambulance, the emergency medical technician is trained, and there's equipment inside the ambulance to help analyze the situation, and that ambulance is relaying to the hospital before you get there what your symptoms are. So by the time they get there, they're ready for you. In
No, I can
Trinidad,
Yes.
tell you.
we have an ambulance and an oxygen tank if you're lucky.
Right. I can
Oh,
tell you
Okay.
first-hand information as part of the AI training. It allowed us to ride in an ambulance like that.
And
And
those who keep supporting the PNM saying was fine and dandy to keep things so. Go
so
ahead.
when you
All right.
mount an ambulance, you see it right away. Your pulse, your heart rate, this and that. They measure the EMT, and EMT technician does that. It's communication with the doctor. So by the time you reach the hospital, that doctor or that team of doctors are there waiting for you already with the background information. That's why they wheel you straight through the back door, right into whichever department you have to go. And this is a system I was telling the doctors back home, Dr. Bodo and Dr. Tim, that we need to have this sort of coordination between the ambulance, the medical clinic, so that if cardiac patients have a 3 hour wait time. After that, it becomes useless. So you want to put
Yeah.
in a stent, it has to be within a 3 hour time frame. But sometimes they call an ambulance and it doesn't come within 3 hours. So what happens?
Well, listen to me. I suffered that consequences with my father who decided to leave the United States and go back home because he wanted to enjoy a little retirement, right?
Mhm.
They can't make up their mind where the ambulance coming from. And an hour and a half later they come and then they refuse to do anything. And that was the end of my father. And that enraged me to start to take action, you
Okay.
know. And that is what got me into the politics because what was happening in my country. And then I discovered, I said, well, wait a minute. So here the joke. I asked what's going on here. I ran into a guy from the Guardian media in Center City, whatever it is there. He say, don't ask no question and go back where you come from. Well, that's the worst thing to tell me. That's the worst thing because I run into guys from the newsroom. I am all kind of confused here. What's going on in my country? Shoguna's Health Center is not too far. I mean, down the main road there, within five,
Mon-
10 minutes they could reach. You couldn't make up your
Montrose.
mind if
Yeah,
an ambulance coming from Mount Hope or you come from Port of Spain or where you coming from. You come there like you don't really care to be there and then refuse to do anything. Over here, I know I've seen reports of the submerging ice and still they think you're dead. The heartbeat gone. Dr. Puran will know that
Yes.
the heartbeat gone so low. They think you're dead, but you're not really dead. And that way they shock you. And I've seen one situation where a doctor submerged a patient in ice and bring him back right back up. So there are different ways. These people are lacking uh, the knowledge and skills, and some of them are so arrogant they don't want to hear that. But we are going to bring it to them. We're going to bring it to them live and direct on this platform and show what we're trying to do with the help of Dr. Puram Raj and Suman. In all the things, good things that, and I'm inviting all our citizens across the globe here to join us on this program to bring whatever idea and suggestion they have. But go ahead, guys.
Can I ask a question here now, Gary? Hello?
Please jump in anytime, please.
Oh, yeah. My area is finance, and you're all talking nice. I like those languages that you're using for technology and AI and all. You're asking these poor countries to have all these things. First of all, the PNM will tell you we don't have any money for that. But we leave them out, so we're not dealing with them. So my question then is that is there any way you all in Trinidad? I mean, I don't want to ask you what because for what you're saying, they don't have all these things. When they mount an ambulance, they just throw you into an ambulance to take you to the nearest hospital, and that will be it. I guess unlike what happens here is that treatment starts right away as soon as the
correct.
EMS comes in.
Correct.
It starts right away, and some of you said if you feed back the information to the triage or wherever you're going, they already have a preparing for when you arrive. This is first world kind of thing you're asking for, and I'm glad you're all saying these things because I mean I hope that Trinidad government could implement some of these things you're talking about. My problem has always been in all my studies is that you're asking these third world countries to adopt all these technologies, but they are users of technology. They don't make technology. Therefore, they have to have sufficient foreign exchange to acquire these technologies you're all asking. They're all good, but
We-
could these people afford it? Sometimes they cannot, sometimes they could. Is that what you
Well,
all consider
the
whenever you're making the
squandermania, the
recommendation?
squandermania of our resources and the money, we can
Mhm.
damn well afford it. But go ahead, Suman.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'll tell you something. If anybody read through the manifestos that was proposed, they proposed 13 growth poles in Trinidad. That is growth areas like the East-West corridor, the biotechnology sort of thing there, and so on like that. But if you don't have the skilled manpower, how are you going to deliver on these growth poles? So they want to do e-marketing or social media marketing, content marketing. They want to make innovation and entrepreneurship. But if you do not, you see, the system of education it goes back to the curriculum that if you want to do, let's say, AI and technology, which is the center, I think I told you, Gary, in Todd Street, they want to build that AI center and the technology center there where they have these 3 or 4 secondary schools, and the PNM want to put a housing complex in the middle there. I hope they
Mhm.
scrap that plan of building houses and actually put an AI
Well,
and a
well,
technology center.
I would suggest also that we go into operation with the after school program, which we utilize the secondary schools within the vicinity of the community for such training to bring the technology to a community. So, like how we have it in the US, you can go back and do your
Community
education
college.
and
Yeah.
get your passes or whatever. But also, if you're working CPEP in the morning time, you could go from 6 to 10 or 6 to 9. In a secondary school has an after hours program within your vicinity, so that you could get the necessary training. So these are some of the ideas that suggested, so that we reopen those secondary schools because they are owned by the government, it belongs to the taxpayers, and just put the necessary training and teachers and resources in there. We would have to make sure those schools have Wi-Fi and the technology, and wired for it. The wireless discs and everything could be placed there to be a satellite hub, for that kind of thing. So it would be a multi-purpose uh, resource there for the community. So the AI is definitely the technology, but there's a lot of things that has to be discussed going forward that I already suggested, but we're going to reiterate it here. So that people grab the concept of what we're trying to do.
And all of these things require foreign exchange, Big Gary. If
Doc,
you are not a
not
foreign
to the
exchange
extent because the
earner,
level. Let me tell you, the foreign exchange was used for the PNM and their friends and their convenience. Okay, and now we don't have the money.
Let me tell you something.
Okay,
Let me tell you
right.
something. It have plenty foreign exchange in Trinidad, right? But they thief it, and they say they don't have money for for the people, for the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, but they have money to thief, right? They have money to thief.
yeah.
So that the foreign exchange with this new government now, the people will have what belongs to them, not only a group of people. Excuse me for talking like that, for speaking like that, but
Speak,
I have a
speak,
rage inside
speak
of me.
boldly. Speak boldly.
I,
Don't hold back.
I have a
Mhm.
rage inside of me because when I went to Trinidad to the one of the director, the president of the former president of the medical board to ask me, he say, what political party you there for? I say, well, I'm UNC. Well, don't come back here. He tell me that, and I presented my curriculum to him to help the country. Right? He said, you don't come back here. You can't come back here. Right?
Mhm.
This
Yeah.
Trinidad is so small compared to the state where I am in Venezuela is 4 times bigger than Trinidad, and they don't
Mhm.
have a problem here for health like the extent in Trinidad. Four
Mhm.
that. And these people
Mhm.
cannot manage a small country. When you look on the map, it's so small that it's a little dot. These people cannot manage it.
Mhm.
It makes no sense. They cannot be there, right? So
Mhm.
let's try now our best in make focus in putting technology to the country in which the people have to deserve the technology, they deserve good health and excellent education. I left Trinidad and Tobago when I was a little child. I had was to leave Trinidad because I didn't have the experience, no experience or how you say, faith to become a medical doctor there because of the system. I went out. I come out. Discrimination, right? So these people, they're going and build houses for their people. They're building for other people. No, only for them, right? So the national anthem says every creed and race. No, they say for them only, right? For them only, right? So that is very wrong, very wrong, very wrong. Very wrong.
Welcome, Fazia. 1 second, guys. Welcome, Fazia. Fazia is a nurse. She's no ordinary nurse. She's like a senior nurse. She's out of Canada, and she spent a year in Trinidad. Fazia, I have Dr. Puran Muraj. He has lived a long time in Venezuela, and he's highly skilled in the medical field. We're doing different kind of surgery and other things. So I would have to bring both of you back again together. But Fazia, feel free to jump in whenever. Want to introduce yourself real quick.
Yeah, good night, everyone. Can you guys hear me?
Good night.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah, good night, we hear you.
Good. Awesome. That's good. I was just listening to Dr. Pran, and I echo every single one of your thoughts because I came up to Canada maybe about 20 years ago, did my training up here, and also did my master's as well. And my specialty has been ICU, critical care, and emergency. And I was the previous director of nursing for West Shore. And then I had done various management roles up in Canada as well, too. But when I came down to Trinidad during COVID time for the 1 year at West Shore, I saw the type of healthcare that was being delivered in the private sector, thinking it would have been a little bit better than the public sector. But I think it was just as bad. And I'm not saying it was terrible, but I expected a lot more from a sector where you would be paying your money for better health service, you would think, right? And comparing what I see and know in North America and to the Caribbean, like it's apples and oranges. You really can't compare it because it's a different level of care. However, you would expect some level of care where you actually provide a good service to people, where you actually get some sort of treatment and recovery, not a pregnant woman waiting 3 days in a wheelchair for treatment, or not someone getting an IV, in their tissue and having the entire hand almost being taken off because of necrosis and that kind of stuff, right? So when Rowley had said they have the best healthcare, Dale Singh said he had the best healthcare in Trinidad and Tobago, it was the biggest joke in my entire life I think I ever heard. I have never seen worse healthcare in my entire life as a healthcare professional. Worse, I never seen. And it just, I couldn't help but laugh and held my head in disgust because we could do so much better. We have so many qualified people who left the country like yourself, right? And would want to come back and make it better, like myself, and yet had to leave again because of nepotism and because of so many resistance to somebody new coming into the country, and they're not accepting the ideas that you have or the experience you have because they think they know it all or they think they know it better than you. Like, it's always wise to bring in different views from different people, different cultures, different experiences to make it better. 10 heads are better than one. And everyone has different ways of doing things, and if you bring people together from different parts of the world or different, walks of life who have similar experiences, we can make it a better healthcare system. We have the potential to make it the best in the Caribbean. I believe that. But the money is squandered. People don't care. It's like, for example, you're talking about the ambulance service, right? Same thing in Canada. We have a STEMI coming in or someone with an MI coming in. The ambulance calls, ahead of time. We have a 70-year-old chest pain, et cetera. They're 10 minutes away. We know when he comes there, the team is ready to accept that patient, and do the ECGs, and put in the IVs, and do the TNK, and do the thrombolysis. We're ready. Door to or operating table time is less than 30 minutes, right? Every ambulance has a cardiac monitor, has suction equipment, has oxygen, has advanceable paramedics who can do intubation and ventilation and who could do defibrillation. And we have the junior ones who just, would be transport team to take people back home after whatever it might be. But we need that in our country. Like I'm from the little village in Beach, Eastern Trinidad, where all the weed grows, apparently, right? Near to Manzanilla. There's no Silvers, there's no ambulance bay there. The ambulance is in San Grande, and the other one is an hour away in Rio Claro. Beach, Nave, Charuma, Plumita. There's a lot of people living there. We have no little clinic here with an ambulance that can take someone who's having an MI or heart attack, down to San Grande. By the time you get there, everyone's dead. Right?
Exactly. Every second counts. You guys are medical experts. You know every second counts in a heart attack or a
Every
stroke.
second counts. So by the time, ambulance comes, that person's already dead. Or with the time a fire truck comes, the people's houses are burned down. Like we need fire stations in all the small pockets of communities. We need healthcare. We need ambulance in all these small pockets.
But what we're talking about, Fazia, what we're talking about, it is not so impossible to create because of the level of revenue we have experienced in Trinidad and Tobago, and to know that they are hoarding the foreign exchange. I used to have Vade Asiram here, and I'm going to bring it back tomorrow night, and he's going to tell us about that foreign exchange and how they was hoarding it. In fact, Vade Asiram had to blaze them a little bit about First Citizens Bank holding the foreign exchange. All of a sudden, 2 weeks before the election, they were unleashing foreign exchange to the SMEs, right? Well, to 9.5 years, it wasn't available. You suffer the people, you're riot yet, and they do this and they do that, they raise the gas and you're riot yet, right? And now, so what we're talking about, Dr. Ashwin Maharaj, is that it is not as difficult as you may seem, and Trinidad can very well afford it. It's how we utilize the money, and we're going to cut out the wastage. Mrs. Vise says coming in to deal with the wastage, to rechannel that funds towards the people and to serve the people. We are guaranteeing that she's coming to deal with all those wasteful spending. And I mean, I know some people gonna lose rent income for their buildings. you know who I'm referring to, right? Some people are gonna lose rent income for their buildings, and who was hoarding the foreign exchange, and that foreign exchange is going to be redirected. And not only that, we are going to help our citizens to grow their business idea. Right, that's in the manifesto, right, Suman?
Yes,
and
it is in the
to grow their business, so that we are going to do more exporting than we importing, because we're going to fix the issues with the agricultural infrastructure. We need to hit the ground to minimize the flooding until we can do the advanced things. But what we have to do right now is to hit the ground, clear up the blockages from the rivers and things that are overflowing and the drains, and get back on the box drain. And because we're dealing with global warming, we have to focus on making the drains a little bit deeper, creating more retention, and then we go deal with the bigger infrastructure for the water treatment and redirecting the water and the water storage and all these different things. But we have to hit the ground running with dealing with the agriculture things, so that we make sure our people can eat. We're going to make sure our citizens, nobody should go hungry in Trinidad and Tobago. That is totally unacceptable. Now, this medical thing that we're talking about here is very possible. We have to have a government having the will and the interest. And what we're going to do with people like Dr. Puram Maharaj and Fazia's and others' contribution is we're going to create an opportunity for training. So we're going to retrain those who need to train, right, Suman? We can do that, and we're going to provide the right directive and the right management structure.
That is most important.
Management and there has to be accountability. So if we get that all under the belt and flush out those who think they're big and bad and there's PNM and they're going to obstruct because I don't have no tolerance for that. And the minute I hear about that kind of thing, I come in to deal with you on the air.
All right, Gary. Here, I am also a professor in 2 universities here, professor in medicine and postgrad as well in two
Wonderful.
universities here
Wonderful.
in medicine. No, I'm also in how you say rescue in English, rescue ranger, military ranger in medicine. No, what
So
is
like emergency response, where you respond to an emergency situation, and you can assist in like how they do here, in the US. If you fell off a cliff, or you in in some area, remote area, you can respond and treat and do all the necessaries to get the patient airborne and to a medical facility, sort of thing.
Yes, we are training in most of the people who in the health area is very well trained. I went to the Amazon once to do my how you say my probation period as a young doctor, no, and the health center when I was there was an emergency where a tiger attacked a boy. I was so surprised there that even the person who cleans the health center, the personnel, knows how to put in an IV. I was so surprised about that. And there was also other accidents and stuff like that. And I was alone in the health center. The person who
Trauma response. That's what I was trying to remember.
Yes.
Trauma response.
Trauma response. Okay. The person who was cooking came and assist, and then after about 10 minutes after, the rest of medical team came in. But the person who cooks the kitchen, the chef, knows how to use an IV, knows how to respond, who cleans as well. So you telling me a nurse in Trinidad and Tobago, they do not permit the nurse to put an IV. They have nurse to pack up, they have nurse to clean, they have no. That cannot be. That cannot be. That have to stop. We have to train the nurses better, right? If you look at the Cubans and the Venezuelan or other nurses, anyway, they know they are like a doctor as well, right? So I saw this when I went to Trinidad there, I saw this place that they when they train, you want to be a paramedic. I don't know, I cannot remember the name. You have to pay $75,000 to pay.
Where? In Trinidad?
Yes.
Yes. A paramedic cost is 75,000.
Yeah.
That is craziness. That is madness. That is madness.
No,
speaking
of that, right? Go ahead. I got something to add to that. Go ahead.
All right. I went to the place there. I can't remember in Shogona side the places, no? So I say, look, I'm
Yes,
also
exactly, Shogona.
as I'm trained as a rescue doctor. It's completely different. A paramedic from a doctor. I respect paramedic and fire officers very much. Let's be clear there. When I went there, I say, okay, I want to give my service and to be certified as a rescue. You tell me, man, you are a doctor? Yes. Well, you have to pay $75,000. TT? I said, that for what? For you to teach me, or for I to teach you? You understand? So that is madness. So the people who really have the gift in medicine or the gift in health, you have to pay $75,000. No. So this is a business for the PNM government to have
for their friends and family and associates,
for the friends and family.
Right. So,
and they
so you
giving
see
them
my
a
point.
scholarship. A scholarship. The woman tell me you have to get a scholarship from the government for the government to pay you that.
And have a PNM party card.
Right.
So
So you see, Gary, you see the problem I'm trying to raise with you all. There is a psychological wall that you are going to come up against. The change that you all are asking for, you're asking a country, and they have 5 years only, because I'm not sure they're going to, hopefully, for 5 years only. You have 5 years to do all of these things you're asking, because you're asking them to move a development stage from third world status to developed status.
Doc, The people give us the mandate.
I
We're going
understand
to
where
bring
you're
it to the
going with all
people.
of
The
this,
people give us the mandate.
but I do that's what I was telling you the last time we met, that this government must not be in there only for 5 years. They need this. These are more long-term things you all are looking at. Some can be done within 6 months or a year,
Yeah.
maybe 5 years, so even longer. Because if you
We're
want to
going
have a
to present
mindset
it.
change, it is
We're
going to
going to
take a
use it.
longer period of time. So what you all are saying, good luck, but you had to get them to buy into this thing. And secondly, my proposition is that this UNC must prepare themselves in such a way that they must get at least another 5 years to complete what is started. Just like how you all talked about the highway building to Point 14, which they didn't complete and they stopped from somewhere middle and whatever. You want to make it sure that this government will have another 5 years. Well, you can't make it sure, but I'm saying the aim should be that they must lead at least 5, 15, 15 years to carry whatever they want to do. In the long term, this can be achieved. All of these things you mentioned can be achieved, but in five years, hardly likely.
La-
But again, they could try, and I agree with
Yeah,
everything you all are
Dr.
saying.
Murad, you're
These
right.
things are these things are noble, but you got to prepare the country for this. I don't think they prepare right now. It takes a little while. Go ahead.
But
You're
yeah, but what
absolutely
I'm saying,
right.
listen to
Yeah.
this. Listen to this,
Yep.
guys. This platform is going to be utilized to do that. Also, we do not expect the media in Trinidad to support this idea. They would not. They would give us a hard time, right? They would not accommodate airtime for this. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring the idea and the message to educate the people, just like how we did before, to encourage them to vote UNC and to go yellow, which we did here and other platforms, right? So when I bring you guys here on this platform to present the idea, where we're trying to do what to help to educate the population, and to get them the understanding, we will get the support from the people. So we created that infrastructure, that management infrastructure, where Suman, people like Suman will be very instrumental in doing that. We are selling this idea here because we're not going to get on TTT. We're not going to get on CMMG or COCNC3. But over here, you're getting all the airtime you need to present the idea to the population of the country, and everybody have smartphone and computer, even down in the woods, right? So as much as this challenge has been growing very fast, and so we want to keep that kind of discussion here, where we're going to utilize this now to present these ideas, and we going to share it with our government. We're going to share it with, in particular with the Prime Minister and the cabinet there, what we're trying to do. We will bring the professionals on this platform, like yourselves, and share the idea because, like I said, we're not going to get the normal media to do this. And then we're going to make sure the population fully understand what we're trying to do here. And, this is the direction I am taking. This is what I'm suggesting. And it is very possible. No, speaking of the EMT, I got some help after I saw Brett took place in Trinidad and Tobago, and I asked for some help to, because you see here we have volunteer EMTs also to alongside the paid one, and I got about 200 teachers just on the Komoto Manzalina area alone, who were in, teachers and people, different walks of people, different walks of life. About 200 was interested, and I shared all these ideas because I got people here would go to Trinidad, out to Jersey City, to train the EMTs, to train volunteers, because we're looking at the emergency before the emergency medical technician come. We want people in the neighborhood who are trained to do
Mhm.
CPR. That's like how we said the nurse and or the cook could do this. So if
Yeah.
a person passing and there's an accident on the side of the road, somebody from the community should be able to a
Correct.
volunteer
Assist.
EMT to
Correct.
respond, right, Isel? So I
Yes,
mean, we have people getting
exactly.
shot. We're getting people shot left, right, and center, and everybody balling on the place, and nobody knows how to plug the wound and stop the blood from
Yeah.
flowing and try to save the life. So by the time the police pitch him in the back of a pickup truck and he reached the hospital, he dead because there was nobody on the scene could have plugged the
To have
wound, stop
rendered
the bleeding,
assistance. Exactly.
right? And so this is the idea. I have also introduced this to Mrs. Visa. So she was very interested. I want to create a central training point down in Shogunas there as one of the emergency response training and how to say disaster response, where I'm still in contact with some of these people. I even got one, the head of the emergency response department out of Hackensack Medical University who was willing to assist us. She said if the government show any interest, she will go. Right. So I had people willing to come if they would pay the ticket. They wasn't charging for their training session or anything like this. If we pay the ticket and accommodate them, some of them were willing to come. So all of this I do, PNM refused to accept the help. People to train, even to do an online thing too, but they were willing to come. So what we need to do in Trinidad and Tobago, we need to train volunteers. We need the medical experts to help kind of guide this.
Mm-hmm.
In the trauma response, we have accident taking place, people getting shot left, right, and center, kitchen accident, home accident, all different things are happening. And most of our citizens are dead before they can get help. And this is something we can change. We have to have the will. We have a government now who has the will. And we need to assist this government, present these ideas, and be steadfast in what we're doing.
Yeah.
Gary,
Gary.
Mr. Gary. Okay. Mr. Gary, Mr. Maharaj, you say this will take from 5 years, 6 years, 5 to 10 years. Okay.
Some of them, yeah.
By my experience here in COVID, we made our hospital a very big hospital in 3 months before the COVID came in. And that normally takes about 5 years, 4 years. We made it in 3 months with the correct infrastructure, planification, and execution. People who are willing to work 24 hours or serve voluntary with a good heart, we will get it done. And that I am not afraid of going and giving my service to the country in where I didn't receive anything. I am there to give the opportunity for others. And we will make it, and we will make a Trinidad and Tobago an excellent country in the Caribbean. Right?
I agree. I agree.
A little bit there.
Just give me the tools I need. Just give me the tools, what I need, and you will see what will happen.
According to
with guarantees.
Mr. Maharaj Senior, what you're saying is quite correct. But there is something that's called systems. If you don't develop the right type of systems from one going to the other, like workflows, you will not get nothing much, especially when the workforce in Trinidad, especially in the public sector, as I told you when I did the laptop project, we had 22 PNM, party groups who was part of the committee. What do you think their function was? Not to stall the project, to stall the project. This is what. So you have to get rid of that concept. I don't know how you're going to change people.
That is why, yeah. So that's why all I'm saying is that these things are noble, they're excellent, they're great.
Excellent, and I share that you.
And you have to prepare.
We're going to be forceful. We have to be forceful because first of all, putting the ideas together, right?
Yes.
Suman, I'm going to share Dr. Puram Maharaj contact. So what we're going to do is we're going to build a strategy now, right? So with the technology and the medical experience, we're going to make a presentation to our government. All right? Agree?
Yes.
Yes. Agreed.
All right. So, and we will make a presentation to our government, and one of the presentation must include not only we are willing to train the doctors in the country to upgrade their skills, we are willing to set up a training structure for citizens to get the basic emergency response training until help can come. So so the local community people must be able to assist themselves until the ambulance reach. So if you're driving down a car and an accident places, you go jump out and help and do CPR, and you must have the skills to do that, and possibly supplies too. The United States Embassy under the previous general there was willing to assist me with this, but PNM didn't show any interest. She had a lot of resources and ideas, and we were trying to bring UNC and PNM together, but PNM had no interest. The government showed no interest, and why would they show any interest? They want to keep our people down and ignorant, and that way they all have a leech around their neck. But we have news for them. Massa Day is done. It really done this time. Okay.
Gary, no, Gary, no. They don't want to keep the people with leech. They want to have the people like slaves. That is what they
Yeah,
want
but
to.
listen, but you
They
had the leech
always
around the
did.
neck. They had the leech
Yeah,
around the neck. We get
slavery.
independence for what? We get independence for what? Right? 62 years of independence, and them worse than the colonial master.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
they
Yeah.
they worse than the colonial master. Are we independent citizens? Do we realize our citizenship? Do we understand our power? This has to change. Our
Mm.
citizenry have to understand this. We're going to use this platform for everything to help our people.
I just
Well,
just sorry,
yeah,
I
go
Go
just
ahead,
ahead.
wanted to
Sorry.
Fazia.
make
Go
a
ahead, Fazia.
couple. Sorry, I just want to make a couple of comments. One for Dr. Ashford Maraj and the other one for Dr. Panam Maraj. What you were saying regarding, it will take 5 or 10 years to change, to effect change. This is true because I've seen it with my own eyes. The thing is, it's a mindset change that we have to effect
Right.
in Trinidad. And that's a
Right.
most difficult change to effect, a mindset change.
Very, very difficult.
When I worked in West Shore for the 1 year I was there, it was very challenging to change the mindset of the nurses and the managers who worked under me to get them to actually care about what they were doing. They were there just to make a dollar and go home. They did
Mhm.
not care about someone
Exactly.
waiting. They didn't care
That is the
about
problem.
somebody in pain. They didn't care about how they did CPR. They just did it because they had to do it. Like there was nothing in them. So, you know what? I enjoy my job. I enjoy coming to work. It was a tedious day for them every day to come to work, and that mindset change is the biggest. Second point I wanted to make was that when Dr. Marat said the nurses here are here to pack up, bags and transfer people, that's what I saw too. I was very surprised when I came to workshop that the nurses they did not do a physical assessment on their patients. I was blown away because in Canada, you do your head to toe assessment in detail. The doctors come to you to ask you, what did you find? And based on your assessments, they would make the diagnosis and prescribe whatever they need to prescribe. We as
That's true.
nurses are trained so much with so much information and experience in assessment that we can look at a patient right away and know what's happening with them just by doing a simple physical assessment. The nurses in Trinidad do not do that. That was the biggest shocker for me. They need to learn to physically assess a patient to better care for them. That is another change we have to make, and that has to
You know what
start.
you know what I am. I'm not ashamed to say this. No, I learn more from nurses here than from doctors.
Yeah, I
That
believe
is to say,
that. I
I
believe that
learn more.
because you're
I'm not.
expected
I'm
to
not.
deliver when you work in a critical care. You're expected to know your stuff, and if you don't know it, you'll be eaten alive up here.
Yes.
You need to know your stuff.
A nurse here watch you and they know they have a let me say
They would know.
150% of your diagnostic what you have,
The
right?
thing, and like we learn here to interpret blood gas and to interpret blood work. In
Mhm.
Trinidad, they have no clue what they're looking at. Zero clue. How can you care for somebody you don't even know how to assess a set of lungs or assess heart sounds?
Because they look at the patient, they look at the citizen of Trinidad and Tobago as a customer. They don't look at them as a citizen. They don't look at them as a human being. They look at them as a customer. That is what happened.
It's a very difficult thing to change the community
Most,
mindset.
No,
most
no, no. I think it's
And
also
difficult.
that's what has to be
a
done.
master slave kind of attitude, where
Yeah.
you become king, you become
Yes,
the
but
slave
Yeah.
master boy,
yeah,
and
but
you could treat
Gary,
the
that
rest.
has
Yeah.
its own problems. You know what I'm telling you? When in Faz's case, she's dealing with medical personnel, but when you're dealing with public servants, they tell you straight, Minister, you cannot fire me. And it's
Yeah.
true, a minister cannot fire an employee of his ministry. Only the permanent secretary can. So you have
Well,
to
we could recommend and chastise them. You see, we cannot go in there. We know the bullies, right? And we know the bullies because I've heard some things under the PPG on how much trouble they will show up to work or they walk away from the meeting and they do everything to derail the procedure. And this is not to be tolerated, and we have to educate, we have to really speak to our cabinet, this new government, that we're going to be forceful. You see, so what I'm saying to you is we have to create that management right? We have
Right.
new sheriff in town, right? There's going to be accountability.
There
There has
needs
to
to
be
be accountability.
supervision,
Yeah,
right? There has to
absolutely.
be supervision and accountability. So the thing about it, there was no management structure under PNM to hold these people
Accountable.
accountable, right?
That's
This is
exactly what
going
Mr.
to
Mirage is
change.
saying.
This
You
has
have,
to change, and
you,
all of us have to come together to build that force to assist our government to take them on because they will give us a fight. They intend to give us a fight, right? We've been there and done that. So, but we go. This is Obama, President Obama. What he did is when they're giving him trouble in Congress, he went to the people. He said, "Write your congressman and tell them so and so." Right? You
right.
remember that?
Yeah.
And he went and he get the consensus from the people. He went to the people. I am trying to do this for you, and I'm not getting any support. So I need you to write your congressman. I need you to write your senator. All right. So Trinidad like to conveniently adapt foreign things, right? But they don't want to adapt the things that would necessarily improve the lives of the people. They want
Yes.
Mhm.
to conveniently adapt the things that are foreign,
You know.
okay, to make some people fat. But they don't want the inclusiveness. They don't want the ordinary man to advance. This is why they shut down the laptop program. This is why the Dr. Rolly said, "Listen, don't give me government, right? Because Kamala gave too much to the people. She put too much
Huh.
power in their hands, right?"
You, you see, Gary, this is the thing. What especially in the public service, I'll go back again. That is the core problem. How do you solve that core problem?
Well, Suman, we're going to be talking. We're going to discover the issues. You're going to help us analyze the issues,
I can
and we're
tell
going to
you,
take and we're
I
going to
can,
take it on. We're going to
I
take
can,
them head on.
I
We're
can
going to
tell
take
you
them on
what
head
you
on.
have to do if you want to listen a little bit. You see all these permanent secretaries, they are the highest person in any ministry, the permanent secretaries. In Ministry of Education, we have 3 permanent secretaries. And when they combine it with all the other heads and directors of, because they are in PNM, they're in the party group, blah, 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 and I am assigned to implement the laptop project, and you have 5 and 6 and 8 people against you, how can you go forward? And they tell you straight, Minister, you cannot do me nothing.
Well, we will
Why
see
do we
about that.
need?
So,
Why
We
do
will
we
see
We
need
will
about
see
that.
about that
and
because
in that
when
case,
Okay.
you know
when
what you
I
have to
when
do?
I
You have to eliminate these people, and instead of
Yes,
permanent secretaries, you're bringing CEOs
we
from
shouldn't have so
outside.
many. We shouldn't have so
Bring
many
people
Listen,
permanent
from
secretaries in one
outside
ministry.
who can start to measure. You have metrics, you have key performance indicators, and you have to achieve your goal. So if my
well,
goal
let's
is to train
let's help our
5,000
government.
people,
Let's help our government. Suman, you've been there, right? You've been there. You know what has we had experienced before. So let's put our ideas together, lay it out in a plan of action. We know what to expect. I had several conversation with Dr. Gopi Singh on the same thing you're talking about.
yeah, I work with
So
him to
yeah,
implement it
right.
on
So I,
his
I know
financial.
exactly, and he was not taking no nonsense at all. All right,
Absolutely.
uh-huh.
and they big and bad and bully, and they had the guns, right? They had the guns, so they could threaten the teacher, they could threaten our doctors, and they could threaten this one and threaten everyone. But that's going to change. All right, and we have to support our prime minister so that nobody threatens her, nobody threatens our government. We will build enough outside force here to back her up, to support her what is necessary. All right, so that nobody will bully and threaten her. We're not taking no nonsense. We have to send a clear message. We are not taking no nonsense, and we have
You
be
see, as
justified. Yeah.
you see, Gary, you see what happened is people who is qualified and with a loving heart and is willing to serve the country, they have fear. You understand?
Yeah, but they're running circles.
No,
Like you see, especially when you trying to help there, they run circles around you.
yeah, but I, as a military doctor, I don't accept nonsense in this ways. We have to have people who do not care about money. When you see a person care about money and to look out for business, convert something in business that is rightfully the people's, here good. We have to make for those people. We have to make a nice jail for them, and you'll see the nonsense and the corruption will stop.
yes, we will get a lot of resistance, but they have to know when a benefit for the people of Trinidad and Tobago or the citizen of Trinidad and Tobago is coming there and you're blocking it or you're sabotaging, you're going to jail. That is, we have to put it like that.
And we will expose you why we fired you.
That's
Yes.
why you need metrics,
Okay.
you need key performance indicators, and you need to have your strategic goal. Once you align these things, you can identify those who are
Suman,
working,
put
those who are
something together.
BSing, those
Put
who are
something together.
underperforming, like that. So you can identify and pinpoint a particular persons
Put
or a
it together.
particular department. Say, hey, you know what? You are not meeting the goal. I wanted to treat 200 patients this month who are diabetic, and how come I only treated 50? Something is wrong in the system. So the systems has to
you must have accountability for what's taking place. Exactly.
You're punching the clock and you're not there. Right? You're
Yes.
going,
Yeah.
a policeman is to go and clock in and go and work PH. Or they come, or they work PH and they come and they work in 10 to 6 and they come in the station and sleep. Right? Until and the shift done. Or
Yeah,
the coast guard. That's
those
right.
are real. Those are real everyday things that happens in Trinidad. There's no accountability, and nobody cares
Once
to
you clock
hold
and
you
you go and do
accountable.
another job, right?
Yeah.
You're not there. But so that is why our borders are insecure, because we have people punch the clock and they deliberately sabotage the vessels. Some of them mash it up, right? So we're going to have accountability.
And people are being
That's
bought, right? People are
yeah.
being bought. When you're
And
desperate for
then
money, they can buy you.
and
Whatever
we're
you
going
want.
to educate the population.
Yeah, I don't
We're
know.
going-
I don't know if my experience with these things will give you any help. But in 1986, when we took over the government, same PNM we throughout,
Yeah.
I was also involved in the training of the civil servants, and we were trying some of these things you are talking about, accountability and all those kinds of things. We didn't get very far with it. We couldn't.
I know. I was part of
And
it, my friend.
okay, and
Dr. Miraj, I used to
I,
work with Mr.
I went into
Robinson.
a mall, and the permanent, that same permanent secretary referring to what they from Ministry of the Ministry of I don't know what they call it, the business ministry, whatever the name is, and he's about talking the minister with me in the mall.
Yeah.
And they're not going to go along with whatever that minister is saying. And they just minister this took over 2 years. Of course, I have connection with the minister, and I don't know if he's telling me these things, so I would tell him minister that, but I wouldn't do such a thing. But he was just that then if you don't get the look, the PSA come out and support this party 100%. Or at least, well, I don't know what percent, but strongly. If you only step on the toes, they're gonna mash up your party. And there goes all the theory you all have. All the theory you all have will go out of the window if UNC goes away.
Agreed.
So
Very much
you
agreed.
want to cautiously go in, because you all in the medical field know about risk assessment and risk management, and you all deal with it a whole lot. We in finance, that's what we do all the time, managing risk. So if you all are saying all these things that are great, they're excellent in a normal scenario, that is beautiful. But
You
I'm
see,
looking at the kind of population and the kind of mindset I'm have to deal with going forward. And I want this government to last at least the first 5 years. You could if you go too drastic, you could mash up your party, and then you won't get the
Yep.
support, and the
Very
civil
true.
service will
Doc,
kill you.
Very
So
true.
you're
we
really
have
all
to
of these
bring
things
that
are really
information
grand, they're
to the
great,
population.
but I just look at Plan B and Plan C. That's all. Good. Go
absolutely,
ahead.
you're
What I'm saying,
100% correct.
Doc, I hear all of that, but what I'm saying to you is, Suman help us put a structure in place. Let's say, for example, right? We take
Right.
it to the prime minister
Right.
and to the cabinet. We have contact with her. She's open to us,
Right.
and we say we know we have been there. This is what we experienced, and we want to put something in place. Now, PSA expecting 10% and whatever percent, but we want they get in the 10% and they get in whatever percent the government can give them, but we want something in return from PSA. We want PSA. We want to spell it out to PSA now that we want a certain amount of performance.
Right, to measure
And
performance.
we need something from you. The money is there. Don't worry. This government not playing with your money, right? But we need something from you. And I don't believe Felicia Thomas will take any bullshit. She's new on the job. I believe she was strongly support this because she wants the best for the country. That young lady, I see it clear to her. She wants the best for the country. I believe she will support us in making sure that we upgrade the performance of our people. And when we don't get the support that we need, we go into the population. Now, our
Yeah.
job here and this platform is, that's like I said, we bring it to the population. You gave us a mandate, right? This is what we're trying to do, and this one obstructing it or that one obstructing it, right? We need your support.
And you're
So
going to jail one time.
the people knew, in spite of all who jump on board with Kamala, the people knew that Kamala had their back. Kamala loved them, all right? And they love Kamala. And no matter how, the more they battle Kamala, the more they try to pull you down, was the more support Kamala was getting. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all they see that, right?
Yeah.
Okay? So they
Yeah.
know this
Yeah.
lady who genuinely love, right, Isel? You know, the people know that Kamala genuinely
Of
loves them.
course.
And whoever are wrong, she tried to undermine
Mm-hmm.
or they're going to deal with
Betrayal.
them, right, Isel? You guys are going to deal with them there on the ground
Yes.
and back up all the prime minister. So what I'm trying to do here is to make sure all they know the truth, know what we're trying to do, know what your prime minister trying to do. We don't expect the media there, like I tell you, is going to give that kind of information or provide that kind of accommodation. So, right? But we will do that here. You have all the airtime. This channel is available to you. Anyone who wants to help the government, has an idea, wants to make a presentation. Um, so I'm appointing Sumant as head of strategy, if you don't mind.
You tell me
All right.
whatever you want me to help. I'll
Right.
help you.
So Suman is the point man for strategy and infrastructure and how we're going to go about things, and he's going to help us put it together in that way. And Dr. Puran is going to assist us with all these ideas, and we have Fazia here. And if you guys have any other medical professional that you like to bring on board, I mean, Fazia, you've been long enough in the field, you know what is needed, and you know what you can do, and you know how we can go about things. So what we're looking for, and I will continue to bring uh, as much people on this platform. I'm going to try to invite the guy who was willing to help me with that emergency management training in Trinidad. You know,
Right.
they had a lot of ideas, and he was willing to do it free, assist our government. I want to do send up that central training. I have my eye on those remote areas like Maya Road, Toko, Sandy Grande, Point 14. I have some ideas for Point 14 too, where we can do some things there.
Yeah,
So
because down Cedros, because the distance from Cedros, the carcass, the point
yeah,
14 from medical facility
yeah,
is
yeah.
ridiculous.
I wanted to I'll give it the boss lady some time because she has a form of cabinet. I don't want to overload her, but we could discuss it here so that we the population can understand our population, whether they are our citizens across the globe, wherever they are. Um, so I mean, Isel, you know how I got involved with assisting our people, and there were so many people. Fazia is there too. Was uh, connected with people, and I was able to help all our people around the world. With whatever difficulty they will have, so we built a kind of connection here, and we know about Mr. Stuart Young and how he treated our people, and how he insulted and was rude to our people and heartless. We know all of that. And so Dr. Puran Maharaj had to, let me see, I think he had to go. I don't know if he had or he got dropped out. Uh, let's see here. I'm
Gary,
going to try
let me
to.
suggest something.
Uh,
As we're doing these things, let's pick a sector and thrash that out. So if we go to do the health sector, we include EMS, this, and this. So when we attend, we don't have to revisit this again.
Mhm.
And then we move on to another sector, maybe
Another
education,
sector, exactly.
and then we go on to
yeah.
this.
Well, what I'm saying to you is, beside that,
Yes.
in that you're going to have to customize things as you go along. But I want you to put something together in the presentation and how we plan. A lot of ministries will be able to use it, right?
Mhm.
But then we will break it down where we customize it to suit each. I'm adding back Dr. Puran. He got dropped out here for a little bit. Maybe
Somebody sabotaging.
Yeah,
the
but
internet connection must have
We have to expect that, We have to expect that.
but you
Gary,
in Venezuela, they can't cut you. PNM can't touch you in Venezuela.
who
No,
says
I can
so?
cut them. We're going to cut them.
You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Gary, I suggest we also, at the end of it, we bring in the minister in charge of that particular ministry. For example, if you're dealing with health matters,
Yes, we will. Yes, we
we
will.
when we trash this out among ourselves and we are about to do a presentation, we bring in the minister of health either in a Zoom
Yeah,
session
somebody
or
thinks we will have to do it off the air, like in a Zoom or something like that, and then things like that. Somebody thinks we'll have to do off the air, and somebody thinks we'll do it on this platform. But I just want to give you the mandate to move forward in creating that structure, and I will give you the Dr. Puran's contact information, and we all will loop into an email. Fazia, I have her email too, and that way you could make a presentation, you could lay it out, and then we will, we want to give our prime minister a few days to catch her breath and
yeah,
put the
usually
thing,
there's a few months to catch your breath to clean up the mess
yeah,
there. I
yes,
don't
yes. So
delay, but
I don't want to bombard her, but in the meantime, let's put the things together. Bring who you need to bring on board. We will discuss a lot of things privately. And let's create that structure. I want to be able to help our government hit the ground running. I'm sure they have a lot of ideas there, but we're going to share our ideas too and let them choose what they want to take out of it.
so you
You
want
know.
to start with health? That's probably
Health is critical, yeah. Start with
okay.
health, but what
We
I say,
start with
create a
health.
general structure with the technology sector and the management. What we trying to fix here is how things are managed, the follow-ups, and how we treat with the
I I
issues.
I did one of that in 1988.
Right. So
With
you're fully. I know I'm talking to the right man. I ain't no dog.
no, not when Mr. Robinson became prime minister, and I did that. I worked in his office, and everybody shut it down because they say, you know what, this is going to create some unemployment for us.
Mm.
Anytime you try to create efficiencies in the
Mm-hmm,
system,
mm-hmm.
Right.
especially in the
Yeah.
public sector, my friend, you're
Yeah.
going to run into a
Yeah,
lot of
they got
high
Mm.
accustomed
ups,
to.
people
Yeah.
figure oh, you're
Mm.
after my job. You don't like me because I'm different skin color or something like that.
No,
It's
no, no.
always going to happen.
Yeah.
So
We
I
know
have
PNM is going to incite that. PNM is going to try to incite that.
But
there
But
that's the
uh,
only way to get efficiency is you have
but
to
then the
cut
prime
back
minister has to go to the people and
unnecessary
say, yeah.
yeah,
roles.
because
Yeah,
some of these things are redundant
yeah,
things to do.
yeah.
Why can't the nurse do this, and this? Why she
Right,
must
Mhm.
right.
only do this?
Well,
Yeah.
we're going to expose
Because
them. So here what? We're going to go to the
Mhm.
population and say, look, you give me the mandate, and this is what I'm trying to do to improve your life, and this is what the problem is here. What do you want me to do? Right? If they want to play it like this, we're going to present it and say, listen, I I was elected to serve you. I promised to serve you. I promised to do X, Y, and Z. But we need to fix this. Do you agree with me with moving this person or that person? That's how Obama did it, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so we're gonna give them a little dose of American politics in their tail, anyway, so we bring it, but I want to bring the information to our people. You understand? They must understand. No, they must not go and spread propaganda or then get away with it, and the TV channel assist them with that. This platform is available to our government and to our people to understand, and we're going to bring a source of information. We're going to engage our people. We're going to show them what we're trying to do. We ain't going to just talk. We're going to show them. We're going to lay it
Yes,
out. You have
yes.
all the airtime here. If you want to do a presentation and they say, well, I put it up and I give you the link and you say, well, listen, this is what we're trying to do. This is what our suggestion and this is the problem we have. And do you support this? Right? You
Yes,
understand what I'm saying? Yeah,
yes,
this is, do you support
yes.
this? So you guys
So
living overseas, you know the deal. Let's do it.
Gary, could you
Right.
tell me what do you know anybody knows what kind of a ambulance service they have? Like, do they equip with anything inside of there other than maybe a stretcher? Whatever. Do they have any kind of a thing there right now? Or, that's my
Oxygen
first
tank
question.
for the most.
Before you answer, because I want to go. Secondly, is that when you're preparing, I think, Mr. Singh, when you're preparing this curriculum on plan or project. If you could list it in terms of what can be done quickly, like in the first 6 months
The
or
low
1 year,
hanging fruit. The low
Short-term,
what
hanging
can be
intermediate,
fruit.
done, right?
long-term.
As you said, the low hanging fruit kind of thing. That would kind of get us going quicker, and then we go into the more advanced and the more as we go along. So if
No,
you could really get that simplistic, cheapest way first, followed by X one, but lay it all out anyway, and that might
yeah,
be easier
no,
buying because we got to tread cautiously. These people will be ready to march as soon as 6 months in this government. They'll be ready to
but
march,
you
and some
better.
of those same people will turn against you. So,
Yes,
so you
I
want
know. I
to,
know.
so
I've
don't
been
put
through. I
it aside.
went through it. I lived it. I came
Yeah,
over
yeah,
here. I went back to try to correct it again. Came back here. It's
yeah,
these
yeah.
these people who
So good
are.
night, everybody. We'll talk again. Good night.
Yeah,
But
yeah. All right. Thank you, Dr. Marjan. We will catch up
Good
again.
night.
Okay.
All
Right.
right.
So what I'm saying to you is, right, guys. I mean, it is clear understanding. Suman, you are the most experienced man. You've been on this job. You know it. You experience it. But we have to be forceful
yes,
Yes,
Gary,
I
on
agree.
what they do, and
we
when they who want to give us trouble, we bring that information to the population, right? That you hired a prime minister. This is what you gave her the mandate. This she's trying to put these things in place for you, and these people are obstructing it, right? We're going to expose them. We're going to expose them, but we're going to deal with. I intend to deal with them.
okay.
So I intend to deal with them head on. In fact, if you know, they will learn a little bit about me. I'm no big shot, but I dealt with Rowley and Short Young heavily when they locked all people outside the country. Izel
The
is still here,
COVID.
yeah.
Yeah.
And Izel and Fazia was part of that, knowing some of the things that I did.
Yeah,
And
I was locked up
Yeah.
for almost 9 months. Yeah.
yeah, and Izel was in the group for a long time, and she saw how I dealt with them.
Mm.
And none of them big shot lawyer could have done what I done from outside the country.
Gary, as we
So
get some time, let's kind of look at some of these plans. Now. If everybody could look at the manifesto on health
Yes.
and see if you
The
agree with
next
it.
thing is
It,
the
it,
next thing
it,
is Gary. Okay, go ahead, doctor. Go ahead.
about 80% of the
Sorry.
things already did it. Was
right.
saying what are the plans, what it is. Next we have to do now is create the system, the workflow. But we want to measure. If you say we're going to improve healthcare, that is just a bland statement.
What are we measuring,
What
right?
are you
What are
measuring?
we
So you have to have
measuring?
metrics
Right,
to
right.
measure.
And
Metrics
how
to
do we measure it?
Yeah, I
measure
want to bring Dr.
metrics.
Gopi Singh on board since
Mhm.
he's not on the cap. I know he's going to be helping a lot of things involved, but I
I
want to
think he
bring him
might
on
be
board.
going
He
into
might have a little free
education,
time.
He might
Yeah,
be
yeah.
going back to help Dowlat. I work with Dowlat, Dr. Dowlat.
But he's the most
Person.
experienced. He's the most
No.
experienced. Dr. Gopi Singh is most experienced in the medical field.
Yes, but
Could
he
give us
was
some
in
guidance.
yeah. But yes, of course, he and Dr. Bodo as well.
Yeah, Dr. Bodo. Yeah, I had Dr. Bodo here a few times.
Yeah, he's my neighbor. I did the contribution. I did a session with him.
Right, right.
Yeah,
So,
so
so you've been there, you've been on the ground, been inside, you have a better understanding of me. I am just the guy who intend to bulldoze the idea and not taking no nonsense, and bringing that information to our population, educating them and providing the means. So I intend to be as forceful as possible, but in a diplomatic way.
I'll just a little caution to you, Gary, that you don't step too much on people's toes, because ministers will tell you, based on my experience of working both in Kamala's regime and the regimes afterwards, that hey, you see, you are just one vote or two votes, but when I go and give a hamper, I get 6 votes by that person. So you have to be careful how we presenting this thing. That the ministers don't want to lose popularity, and by terminating certain people in their ministries, they can do that. They can
Well,
lose
before
popularity.
we go into the termination part, we are presenting the plan of action and what we expect. We're not jumping to the termination part.
I
We
know, but
are we are presenting an idea of what we plan to do, and I mean they are self-terminating by not collaborating with the government plan of action
correct.
because
That's
you
true.
understand they are self-terminating themselves, right? Because they are working against the government. You're not in the best interest of the government. So I'm not firing. You are firing yourself by
Yeah, that
refusing. We have to, as I said, we have to do just like you go on an ordinary job. There's a performance chart and certain things. If an employee is refusing to collaborate, you write it down, you document it, you speak to them, you
Performance appraisals.
Performance
yeah,
appraisal, but that never gets
right,
done. They have
Oh, yeah, that's yeah.
performance appraisal
and then
outstanding for 15 years. I did
yeah,
when I was working, none was done for me.
Yeah, nobody does
right,
it. Yeah.
Nobody does
right,
it. So
But
how
it
yeah.
can
should
you
be
get
done. You know what the
As
problem is? The
as
problem
Dr.
is too many friends who you work with. Your manager
We
is your friend. This
we
is your
had
buddy. So
they
you
tell
can't
you do
manage
it
your
yourself?
friends.
They tell you write it out yourself and bring it, they sign it for
Yeah,
you.
yeah, you can't
That's
manage
it.
your friends, right? And that is a
no no
problem.
no no that can't
There's
work.
too much
So
nepotism
Oh,
in
you,
Trinidad. Too much.
right,
it's,
right. Well, everybody, friends and family in comes
And
gets
that's the
hired.
problem.
in the public service, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
As Dr.
But
Puranan Fraser said, if we start off with the nurse system, we train the nurses and them so they can assess patients and don't wait for a doctor or you
Mhm.
might because when you enter the hospital you have maybe one general practitioner to see about 50 persons.
Yeah, that
We
can't
can
work.
start off with
That
that.
can't work.
Exactly. We can
That
start
can't
off
work.
with training the nurses, retraining the nurses and them so they can assess the patients. Because it's not like what Mr. Raja is saying, like a third world country into a first world. Because when you go to different countries that are third world, nurses assess patients. And
yeah.
then they decide, okay, which practitioner the patient need to go to. They don't send them just take your pressure and put you to sit down and wait. They assess you and then they say, okay, well, you need to see the eye specialist, so you go to this doctor. That is how it's distributed in different countries. I've been working in various countries within the Caribbean and Latin America, and that is what takes place.
Yeah, there's a triage system, right?
Raj,
Especially
yeah.
there's a triage. So someone comes in with a certain degree of injury or whatever. There's levels 1 to whatever, 5 or 6, depends on where you're from. So
trauma center.
yeah, you're triage based on your
Yeah,
acuity
trauma
of
center.
illness, and then we know, you're gonna go to this line because you're gonna see this doctor first or whatever. But that's just a basic emergency room
A
system, right?
basic, exactly.
Yeah, and that should be just standardized across the board. And I don't think
Right.
they
So
do that because
I don't think it's
people go
impossible.
there.
It has to have
Yeah,
a government who's willing to
yeah, because
enforce
right
it.
now in Trinidad, people go to the hospital and they sit and wait to be seen by a doctor, and
Till
3 days
it,
later they are
till a
passing out
name
to
call.
die.
Till a name call. That's the first thing. Till a
Yeah,
name
so
call.
And
no, you should
they
be able
rough
to
you up
go in.
and they insult you
Uh,
like a dog.
Yeah, you should be able to
they're salty.
go in, get
Exactly. You're not
registered,
important
right?
right
Go in
now.
and
Yeah, they give you all kind of excuse.
yeah,
Your injuries is not important. You ain't really feeling. They want to tell you how you feeling.
Correct.
Yeah, but
Absolutely.
You
you have
see
to
what
know
is
You,
somebody.
you see what
You have
is
to
if
know
going
it's
on
sick,
there.
you
somebody.
can wait. If it,
You see what is going on there as well, no? Doctors in Trinidad, not all, feel that they're big. You
yes,
understand? You can't talk to a doctor,
Ego,
yes,
right?
ego,
So
ego.
that here in Venezuela, Mexico, Colombia, anybody can be a doctor. Anybody, right? Can be once you have the ability to learn, you can be a doctor. Now, what I saw in Trinidad is certain people study medicine. And it's
mhm,
certain people they say they are doctors, and when you ask them a diagnostic or ask them a question, they didn't know I am a doctor. Any man going to Wikipedia with his cell phone. You understand? So they feel that they're big. That's the main problem. The main problem. They don't have humbleness. Much of them. It's a
It's
question
a
of
mindset, right? It's a
culture,
mindset. That's what it is. They feel they're here.
mindset. Yeah.
Everybody
Because they was
So
else
allowed to do
should
that for too
bow
many
to them.
years. They was allowed
That's a big
for too
uh-huh.
problem.
many years,
That's
and
a big
and
problem.
Right?
and we didn't change government. They had to bring it to the people, right? We didn't change government to continue with the same thing. Okay,
No.
so the prime minister have to go to the people just like Obama did, or the minister, and say, listen, again, I'm telling you, this is the challenges. You hired us to make a difference. This is what we're trying to do, and this, that one is obstructing. What should I do? Justify your cause, right? Now, if the permanent secretary, don't want to comply, this giving you grounds to terminate the permanent secretary,
And
right
that should
there,
be allowed to happen.
right? So
You,
That
is
you
it
you
is
see,
let
allowed.
the permanent
you,
secretary get on board and get her employees under her jurisdiction performing, because this is where we came on board to do, to perform, to
Boy,
upgrade,
yeah,
right?
Gary,
We had to sell the idea
you have to sell the idea
to
because
the population, to the population.
even the prime minister's office, moving a file from 7th floor to the 8th floor takes 3 days.
Yeah, but
that's our next problem.
well,
To get my you know the to verify my
Credentials.
medical with
Evaluation.
custard. The custard, the company that in Trinidad that verifies
Yeah,
your
yeah.
medical title.
Yes,
Uh,
yes.
it, that is something take 24 hours here in Venezuela, 24 hours or something like that. They took almost 9 months to do that for me.
Evaluation committee. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
it
Nine
have a
months
it,
to
it have a bribery structure too, a little bit of corruption,
It
right?
took
well,
my wife
And
six
who you
months to
know
get
on the
it.
party cat system. We didn't change government for that to continue, right, Esau? We didn't change government for them kind of thing to continue. So this is what we have to keep on doing here on this platform. Bring the information to the population.
not
Uh,
custard,
ju-
not custard.
No,
yeah.
it's an
Um,
evaluation committee that looks at the
yes,
medical degrees and see. My wife went through it 6 months. She took for her to get her stuff, and she had a degree, MBBS with masters in public health and this and that. She said, "I'm coming to work voluntary. You know, examining
you,
all the eyes. He's an ophthalmologist. I'll do
and they
all
say you're too
the eyes
qualified.
in the schools. In the school, do eye things for free. No, no, no,
Yeah.
no. We're not allowing you. You cannot touch no
So
patients
so
here.
when they ask the
Yet,
Gary, they
yet
go
they
say,
let illiterate people run the country.
yeah,
You
yeah.
see,
So you know,
you see, Mr. Gary, there's a mafia. Let me say clearly here.
yeah,
I ain't afraid of
yeah.
anybody. There's a big
All it, brother.
mafia
I know what you're talking about.
in
I know
health,
what you're talking
right?
about, my friend.
There's several
Because
mafias down there. There's several
they,
mafias
they
down there.
they only want to have their circle where they make money. They don't want to help. They only want to make money. You know, I am very in the pharmacy in Trinidad and Tobago. You don't have medication for IV. You only have vitamin B12, and that's it, right? They don't have it. They don't have a lot of medications in Trinidad. They don't. What is needed for the population, they don't have it. They don't have it in the pharmacies, right? So these are things that we have to implement, and also have the maintenance plan. Not only introduce the idea or what we are going to do, but we have to maintain. Maintenance is much more difficult than starting up. You understand? Hello? Get cut off?
I guess maybe he
Go ahead,
did.
we listening to you. Go ahead, we listening to you.
Yes. Maintenance is one of the most important things. And when we put our plan in improving the health system, we also have to put a time limit. Look, in 6 months, this project has to be completed. I have to be completed, right? No excuse
This is
of
what
no
Suman was
completion.
talking. This is what Suman was talking about. Having how you measure your outcomes, and if it's
Yes.
not,
I
if you
just
don't
want
reach your
to
goal, then there's a consequence, right?
welcome Denise Belfon, a well-known artist, performer, and strong UNC supporter. So she will be assisting me here out of the US as we go forward. Didi, you got a chance to catch on to the conversation that what we were talking about
I
regarding
was
to.
I was fortunate to listen to the lady that is to my right, and she spoke a lot about health care and how it is very, very, very deplorable. And I do agree with it.
Mhm.
I ended up hearing the ending of this gentleman's conversation, and I do agree with everything that's being said because me being someone in the music industry, putting that aside, I am first a human, and I have been in situations where my grandmother that lived with me and passed away when she was 93, the health system failed us as a family. My father in law also, it failed him and us as a family. And it was such a touching and hurtful experience that he was a very wealthy man, meaning he had millions to sustain him and his health and whatever he needed when he stayed at a home and the home failed him. His millions wasn't really enough to help him. And that in my mind was like, what? Even when you have money, you still can't do anything to really survive and take care of yourself in the way that you work so hard, made all of that money, and you still can't sustain your health problems. That blew my mind.
Denise, why do you think that was?
I think it from what I saw and what was like projected onto us as the family members, they only cared about his money.
Correct. 100%.
And what they did,
That's
they
it,
did,
man.
they did
That's
everything
it.
in their power to suck him, suck him,
Yes.
suck
That's
him,
it.
Yes.
and not make
Absolutely.
him better. At the end of the
Yeah,
day, God and whoever everybody else might worship as their God is in charge.
Mhm.
We can't fight that. But he was in a position to make sure that what he could have paid for could have helped him live a longer life.
Mhm.
Me on the opposite side now with my grandmother, when she got paid her pension, we still used to have to take money from her little money to pay for her medication. And with that being said, she had nothing at the end of everything because her whole pension was for her medication.
Medication. Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
and that we used to have to chip in. I mean, it wasn't a problem for me to do that because it's my grandmother. But what about the other families and other people that don't have
Mhm.
a granddaughter like me who is prominent and doing things in society and making the money to help my grandmother, help their grandmother or
Correct.
grandfather
Correct.
or loved
Senior,
one?
senior citizens who need should be able to get medication covered.
Correct. Let me just say this to you
Yeah.
guys. You see, when I saw the final word on my pause reason that UNC won, let me tell you something. The only thing I didn't do was a pedal back and a backflip and and run out of my house because the hour of the morning it was the people that think I'm mad. I was so elated. You know why?
We all share
Because
that with you.
this party, people will get vexed with me, and I don't care if they get vexed with me when they hear me say this. This party, UNC, have done so much for people of my race, your race, and the other races. It was never nothing about, in my mind and in my book, racism and these type of things. It was always about helping
People.
the
Mhm.
society, helping the public. That's how I fell in love with UNC, right? If everybody would say, you only there for what they have to give you, you only there. Yes, I am here for what they have to give me, but what I give back is a give and take. It's not I just give me, and nothing behind it. I'm giving two. And
Yeah.
if we as a society and as a country, a community, do the same thing, when you give, you get. When you get, you give. We will be a greater Trinidad and Tobago. That's what I believe.
Thank you,
I
sister.
agree.
And the people gave Kamala and the UNC a mandate. So what I was saying earlier, um, uh, Mr. Suman Singh was involved with our government in the technology and trying to upgrade things in the 2010-2015 period. And he had some previous experience with previous governments. So he laid out some infrastructure and management on how to go about improving the quality of service delivery that we were getting.
Right.
And he faced some challenges. Him and the UNC government faced some challenges from the PNM people who had been there for ages, been in the structure because of their party and not really qualified. Some may not be qualified because we know a lot of people got position because of party, right? Because of who they, which party they is and who they know, right?
Yeah.
So these are one of the reasons, one of many reasons why we're facing the difficulty of the level of service delivery that we are getting.
Of
And they can do you
implementation. That's
what
the
they
problem.
want and get away with it because
Implementation.
there was nobody there to hold them accountable. But now we have a government was given a mandate because the people showed clearly that they realized the deal, the majority, right?
Correct.
And especially the young people who say they ain't taking that, right? And they support Auntie Kamla because Auntie Kamla put a laptop in their hands to give them the opportunity to build their lives. They realize Auntie
Mhm.
Kamla is a
My children and nieces and nephews were
right.
children who received laptops
Laptops.
when the queen, that's my queen, was in power the
Tell them,
last
sister.
Mhm.
time,
Tell them,
right?
And
sister.
And to continue and say why I felt so elated when I heard the results is because I started thinking in my mind, oh my gosh, what can I do now to really help and propel and help the queen get to where she needs to go for our country to feel comfortable and feel
All of us.
well
Yeah.
knowing that this manifesto or whatever it is, the mandate and whatnot, she sticks and sticks to what she says she needs to do. Now, I want to tell people this, right? When a party is elected, you can't do everything that was damaged over all the years that even from my mother, my grandmother, my grandfather, and everybody was damaged. Every 5 years or however long it takes, it is crazy to think that the country will be back to normal in 5 or 4 years. That's madness. You
But
understand?
we did quite a bit, even that was it, and even though the challenges we face with the politics within the infrastructure of things. So this is what we discussed. So this is my idea, right? I asked Mr. Suman Singh to recreate a structure for us and bring and add to what he had before, and we're going to present it to our prime minister and our government. And he's saying, well, we're going to face some challenges
Of
because
course.
a
X,
lot.
Y, and
A lot
Z.
of
So I
challenges.
am saying, that we have to send a message through this platform that we ain't taking no nonsense. And when they give our prime minister
Correct.
trouble because she went there to fix the things that we asked she to fix, right, to make things work for us, and they give she trouble, we want the people to know that we're bringing that information to them so they could stand up and say, we hired Kamala and her government to fix this, and you can't do that to she. You see, all the same way how they try to brutalize her and the people, they came out and they showed their power and they supported her in a landslide victory, and a lot of these
I
young people.
I just want to say this also to the people that think that this needs to be done in 24 hours. It cannot be done in 24 hours. And to the
Yeah, that's true.
people that think that, all right, in the next 4 or 5 years, it will be done. No, I just want that when the ball starts rolling and we start putting things in place for what has been broken and lost, that people know we are trying our best or doing our best to get Trinidad and Tobago in a better standing with our communities, our country, and the world. That's it. It's not
We
gonna
have to do it
happen
together,
overnight.
sis. We have to
And
do it
overnight
together.
mean all the years that she will be in power.
Right,
But to
Gary, you
continue
promised
to give
something.
her the opportunity to build and do what is necessary for everybody to benefit eventually.
Okay, Denise, how old are your kids? Around 22, 23, 24, 25?
My children are 30, 25, and 24, and I
Now,
have twin granddaughters that are 5
right.
years old.
So they would have benefited from the laptop project. I did the laptop
Yes,
project, by the way, for you, the kids to get laptop project.
yes, my
Against
nieces and
against
nephews also.
against serious odds, Gary. What I'm telling you, I had to do 6 months work in 3 months. I had to work day and night because I had so many people against me to stall the project. I had to cut through all this red tape because I'm contracted. I'm a contract worker. Dr. Gopi Singh asked me to do the laptop project for him. And Kamlin and I were in school together. So I know her. She's from my area too. So I did it like a service, not for anything else. And but the opposition body kill you at, if it's 20 members in a committee, 16 are against you. How can you move
Correct,
forward? And
correct.
these
That's very true.
This is what I intend to do, Denise. Here is that to be a support and a force for our government here. That when these kind of problems come, that we're not going to let them get away with it. We intend to support our prime minister. We intend to support our government when
Yes.
necessary. When she faces this challenge and they want to obstruct her, like how Sumant went there to restructure things, and they don't want it because they want to punch in on the clock and go and do something else. Go make a cook by somebody else's house. They're going to lime somewhere else. They're not on the job. I mean, we have seen all these kind of things there because they're accustomed doing this. But we didn't change government to maintain the status quo. This is the message we have to send. So when we
Right.
try to do things and they're obstructing him, you have the prime minister has to say, listen, you didn't hire me to keep the same old. We're not maintaining the status quo here. We came here to make a difference. We
Correct.
came here to upgrade. So
This is not the norm.
I
This
am
is about
trying to pull
difference.
all of us together who are outside the country on board to support our government going forward. We are
Yes.
presented the eye like you see here. We were discussing earlier. When you get picked up in an ambulance, right? The ambulance is fully equipped and the technician is fully equipped to relay, analyze your situation,
Yes.
relay the information back to the hospital, and by the time you get there, they're ready for you. In Trinidad, you get an ambulance with maybe an oxygen tank, and the person are
That's it.
very skilled to train you. So there's a lot of things we're trying to bring on board to help our government because the result
Well,
we see
well,
them.
well. I could tell you, I have no qualifications and degrees when it comes to, being the person to get or give advice when these things are concerned, for health and medical assistance and whatnot. But me being the grandmother they call the children here in the U.S. What they call it, a child with needs, right? Special needs patient or special needs child.
Special needs.
I am the grandmother of one of um, those children. And with 5 years of having to learn what you need to do if she stop breathing, if she can't like see, if she whatever it is, I could give some advice and some kind of insight as to what can be done to upgrade our healthcare system when it comes to children with special needs or even the elderly. Because I work a lot with the elderly here in the US and children with special needs, especially autism, and children that have special needs like my granddaughter. So
Right. So we have Dr. Puram Maraj, who is specialized. He's a surgeon. He's specialized in trauma and a lot of things. We have other medical professionals that will come on board with us. So this is a platform for bringing all the resources together to
yes,
support the government. But we just bring it to attention of what the challenges was, what the challenges will be, because they want to keep things that way because they benefit that there are people benefiting. Our open borders is beneficial to some people. That's why they're keeping it so. Let's put it that way,
right,
right? We people, the population did not elect Kamala to keep this to their scope. They elected to change the thing, right?
correct.
All right. So that is why they came on board. So what I'm saying to you is if they give her any trouble, the population must be informed. You take that information to them and let the population decide, and they came out to support their prime minister and they're going to support that because they want to change, right? Now,
Yes,
yes, we have some challenges. We have to do this time we have to fix the refinery situation. Where I mean, we don't know what is rusted the technology. Again, here Sumatra is going to come in. The technology has changed as to upgrade there. Um, some equipment will have to be replaced. So there's a lot of work to be done. But in the meantime, like I said before, we have to work on feeding our population, which is and getting the agriculture industry going, whatever
yes,
they need, so that our people can eat. In the meantime, we're waiting to fix the other things. So I think the people are going to be very patient, knowing what the thing about it also is that they're going to know that we are doing things. And first of all, you might not have the best suit of clothes, but you're going to have food. Right, we're gonna make
exactly.
sure they eat. We're gonna make sure you have accommodation. The things that we can fix, we will fix. If we
Proper
have to fix
health
it right
care.
away, we're
Yeah.
going to fix that. In the
Yeah.
meantime, we have our specialists going to deal with the oil industry, and we have the specialists going to deal with Point Lisas and all
And
the other
finance
resources.
and
We have those
finance
while they're working on
agriculture.
that. We're trying to get that on market and on building that resource back to to where it starts to produce. We fixing these things so you could eat and your children could eat and your children could be safe and could get proper health care.
Okay.
And proper health care is not impossible. We have people like Dr. Puran Maraj willing to help for free. Understand? Because he wants to give back to his country. He's highly trained. He's highly skilled. Right now, he's out in Venezuela. He's got his education and training out in Venezuela. The PNM give him wrong does. They wouldn't accommodate him, and he's trying to help. Right? They give him a hard time. So, like I said, we change our government because we want change. People must know we're going to use this platform to bring that information forward.
Gary,
Anything?
let me make a suggestion, please, if you don't mind.
Right.
I think let's wait a couple days and see where the priority is, and then we can pick the low hanging fruits first, make suggestions after, and workflows and systems at the end.
Yes,
Because right now there's a helter skelter, Harry Carry thing. Nobody knows who is going to head whatever ministry,
correct.
whatever they're
No, but
going
you
to.
could put the structure in the meantime. You don't have to say nothing now. But
Yeah, we
what you
have
put in
no,
together, you're doing it behind the
no.
scenes.
If you do the thing, if you we read the manifestos, they are excellent, excellent, excellent. It touches all the points we're discussing here. It's first world. It's first world. We will not get to that stage, but if we reach half of that, it will be quite an accomplishment.
Yes,
I want to bring everybody on possible using this platform to get the job done. You understand? Because, like I said, our media in Trinidad is not going to do that. This is a building platform here. It's available to bring anybody. You recruit anybody you want to bring an idea and have a discussion. We will do it here to present it to the people. We will engage our population both inside and outside the country. And according and the way I feel about it, our citizens does not lose their citizenship because of geographic location. Mr. Puram
correct.
Maraj does not lose his citizenship rights because he's in Venezuela. You does not lose it because you're in Miami. Denise doesn't lose it because she's in New York. I
Correct.
does not lose it because I'm in New Jersey. You understand?
Yes,
So we're going to remain. We're going to show them that we're going to be engaged. We're going to be fully engaged. We're not backing down. and we're coming straight ahead. We're coming straight at them. So no nonsense. This is a team. This is a serious team. We know what we're doing, and we have all the experts with us, whether regardless of what it is, the medical expert, the technological expert, and the big mouth like Gary.
You
The big mouth like Gary.
and the big mouth like Denise.
Yes, Denise. Denise mouth bigger than mine. You know,
Denise, I have one
Denise is
question
big
for you.
mouth.
Soca throat. I have the soca throat.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
God,
Denise, I have one question for you.
Tell me, ask me.
You are Denise Plummer.
No. Denise
Okay.
Plummer passed away. I'm Denise Belfon.
Oh, okay,
I
okay.
Pull a
am
song
the
there for him,
called
Denise. Pull a
Saucy.
song.
They call me
Pull one of
hey,
yours
Saucy.
for him.
Saucy. I
Okay.
remember you. I know Saucy.
Yeah, thank you.
You, I work.
Thank
Listen,
you.
we used to have you as the singer to come and do all our entertainment in the Ministry of
Yes, yes,
Jamaican
yes,
Development with Dr. Baker.
yes, yes.
I was a
Very true,
director in
very
that
correct.
ministry. I was a director in that ministry. I was in charge of ICT, information technology. So
Mm-hmm.
all our functions, so since to come and, you know, play the
Yes.
house.
Well, you know
So
she ain't afraid
this
nobody.
is
No,
not
you
just
know
a
she ain't afraid
now
nobody.
thing. This is not a now thing.
Right.
This is since 2025 to now. How much years is that? How much years is that? And even before that. So that, I mean, come on.
That this is at
I'm a
least
staple.
12 years
To
ago.
ask me about maths because I'm a very bad mathematician. I'm a doctor, medical doctor. I'm not mathematics.
Well, I'm a mathematician.
Okay.
I'm well too. 12 years ago.
Yes. And
You
before
also a
that,
teacher,
and
right,
even
Denise?
before that.
And Chuku
Denise, you
Chuku.
also teaching,
Yes.
right? You also
Say
teaching?
that again?
Chuku
You also a
Chuku.
teacher, right? You know
Yes,
something
I
like
teach first grade and second grade children math and English.
Know the song, Chuku Chuku. Your
That
song.
my daughter Cassandra wrote that for me when she
Okay.
was 13 years old.
Right.
She's now 24.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Gary, I will do
Mr. Gary, is
yeah, go
there
ahead.
a cardiovascular hospital for children in Trinidad?
There
no.
was one, there is one on the highway going up, going down
That's
to
the one
south.
that the PNM abandoned.
The new
Okay,
hospital.
you take the words out of my mouth.
So we're trying to get
Oh,
some cat labs built. So I was suggesting. I know they want to get probably. I think my use the Cuba Hospital, but we need a few cat labs across the country. As we
We would
know,
need one in South,
um, in a
South.
medical emergency time, every second counts. Dr. Puran can explain that, and you know he's here to advise on that. But I mean, we know. I mean, you're dead before the way things are structured in Trinidad right now. You're dead before you get any help because of how the things are right now here.
Gary, you know what is the cost for to have an ambulance? I have a friend there. He wanted to donate an ambulance to Mount Hope, no? And you know what they tell him for him to have the ambulance? He have to have to make the ambulance 1,500,000 TT dollars.
What?
Yeah,
That's
one
correct.
million 500,000 TT dollars for him to donate an
To
ambulance to
donate
make an
it?
ambulance to make an ambulance.
Okay. Wow.
So there's a very that mafia there. Only one group of people there will have that access to health, and that have to stop. Right? It will
Yes.
stop,
But that's why we
and
change
we have to have
government, right?
people strong, and people who are not afraid to confront these people.
People who are not yes men and yes women. People who
Yes,
will stand up and say no when the time reach.
and no
That's
backing
what
off.
we need.
Rick,
Well,
Right?
I certainly don't intend to back down, and we didn't change government. Like I say, nobody we didn't the people didn't give Kamala a mandate to maintain the status quo. We are here to make
oh,
that
sorry.
upgrade. We are here to support the Prime Minister and her government. We will present all the ideas, right? We present all the ideas and suggestions, and we will bring people on board from overseas to assist her with the level of, like I said, I don't believe it's impossible. I think it's very possible. We just
Yes.
have to manage our money and not the and plug all the holes that the PNM had where the money was leaking out to their friends. If we plug those holes, and I'll be honest with you, we have to tell some people to declare their wealth. We have to put back some people to declare their wealth, to tell us their source of income, how they get it, because they did
Uh-huh.
some stuff to us, right? They
Yeah.
did some stuff to us. They changed the currency to obstruct some people from being able, and
Yes,
they didn't change them. They didn't exchange their money.
very
A lot
true.
of people who make their money on the side, they didn't exchange their money for the new currency. So there's a lot of things we have to deal with. A lot of things have to fix. But I'm depending on my friend here, Sumant and Dr. Puram, to help us put some things together, and we're gonna present it while the government prime minister getting her cabinet together. We're gonna structure things, and we're gonna send her the information, and see how it goes. But
So we,
Okay.
and then we're going any trouble that she gets, we going to let the population know, and we're going to drag the population in because they wanted a change. They voted for a change. That's why they support her. Anybody gives her any trouble, we're going to support our prime minister. We're going to call on the people to support them. Anytime anybody gives her any trouble, we're going to
no,
bring that information to them.
Okay.
Letting the population know. Our people, whether they're in Trinidad, they're outside the country, everybody on board here with this.
right.
Everybody is an all-inclusive thing. Trinidad belongs to all of us. All
Yes.
of us have a right to say something about how Trinidad, is managed, and that's our right. We belong there. We born there. That's our heritage, and we invest our time into it. And our people can function as brand ambassadors. Like Denise is a brand ambassador for Trinidad culture out here. So she's marketing Trinidad out here. And we have different skills and everything. We just want to create that platform, so give
Um,
our people opportunity. That is the objective of the prime minister. That's the objective of the government. The
Gary,
people understand that.
Gary, I can send you the write-up I did for the health sector,
Okay.
and you could probably pass it on to Dr. Maraj.
I'm going to send you Dr. Maharaj email. So when you send it to me, you're going to CC him on it too. Include
Yeah.
him on the email.
Great.
Yeah.
Yes. So
All
we
right.
just get acquainted of what it is, and then we could look at the UNC manifesto.
Right.
But we will give it some thought, and I will write up some strategic objectives
Right.
and make some measurement performance appraisal and what metrics to measure and so on.
Right.
So
So
Okay.
Denise
Yes.
is aware of what it is. So what we're trying to do is to bring people on board. We're going to have some discussions in Zoom off the air,
Yes.
also, so that we could plan out some things and share ideas. But whether in Miami or in New York or wherever you're located, we want to bring our people on board of what we're trying to do, so that they know what we're trying to do, and we're trying to make
And
the area
would
a better
support it.
place. Yeah, we must over here must be able to go to Trinidad and don't have to worry about anything for security and your life. If something happens, you know that you have a good hospital to go to. The
Yes.
response must be effective. We all in this together. There is no exclusion here. Trinidad belongs to all of us. All of us has the right to participate. So with that, guys, I want to thank you for joining us. If there's anything else you want to bring forward, please say so.
You're welcome. One of the pressing things before I leave, because I'm still on the air at the radio station, but I'm a part of here in New York City. But I took some time out to come and speak on the platform. One of the pressing things or issues for me is mental health. And I have something that I've done up already. I have something that can be emailed also and presented, where mental health is lacking in the Caribbean, especially in Trinidad and Tobago.
well, Kamal
Yes.
has a big presentation on that topic per se.
Just
So
before the
Well,
election.
yes,
Rowley need help badly.
all right.
so
Rowley need help real bad with that.
it
To
would
give
be
him that.
nice if we could go through it and see how much yours correspond to hers and feed off one another.
Yes,
That
All right.
I will
particular
appreciate
aspect
that.
of
I
mental
would
health.
really love to.
She
So
had a whole
Yeah.
meeting on that, a whole entire meeting on holding on mental health and children issues
Yes.
and so on.
Great.
Mental health is very important in the medical field. For doctors, nurses, the medical personnel has to have excellent mental health. The doctors here in Venezuela, we go into the night shift, or how you say, work shift, but we do not know what time we come out. There has no working hours to come out, but to go in, yes, we know what time. And
Yes.
mental health is very, very, very important. Very important. Thank you for that, Dennis,
No
for bringing up
problem.
that
No problem at all.
issue.
It's something that is huge here in the US. And with me, as I mentioned, working or dealing with a child of special needs,
Mhm.
it opened my eyes, my family's eyes also, to what is really lacking as a Caribbean family household. And not even mental health alone, for the medical sector or the man and woman, average man and woman on the street, but even the teachers especially, because they are actually the caregivers of our children when we go to work on a daily basis and we
Mhm.
leave our children in the care of the school or the teachers on a daily basis from 7:30 a.m. till 2:30 or 3 p.m. every day. And the teachers, they have no kind of safety net or any way of getting out of what they feel blocked or clamored or frustrated by. So I'm happy that I could have like expressed that, and I am just excited, and I want for the best for my country, my people that live all around the world, from Trinidad and Tobago. I want to say that I did something that my grandchildren and great grandchildren and even my children could say, Mommy made a difference to help our nation move forward with my queen, the Honorable Kamla Prasad Bisasa, and the UNC party.
So Denise, while you up I know you're up in New York there, so and you're in touch with a lot of our people, so just kind of spread the word what we planning to do,
For sure.
and
And
we're gonna have some
I
other.
have access to do that. I'm a part of a radio station. That's
So
easy.
can we
That's
do a link up
simple.
one day with the radio station from here?
Huh?
Can we do a link up with this on the radio station one day?
I would love that. We would love
So,
that.
so organize that and let me know. All right.
Yes.
And what we do is we want our citizens to hear what we, and I will invite Dr. Puram back and Sumant and some of the economists that was on with us here before.
You make me
Um,
smile. I'm smiling from ear to
yeah,
ear.
yeah. So let's do a link up and talk to them and let me know. All right.
No problem at all. To everyone
All
on the
right. So
panel,
because we
I
trying to reach
thank
out
you
people.
for listening to me, for giving me the opportunity to express myself. And I look forward to working with everybody on the panel and beyond to make Trinidad and Tobago a better country
Well,
internationally.
we
Love
opening
you
the door.
guys.
Let them know
Be
the
safe.
door is wide open here. The door is wide open here. We want to bring our people on board here for the discussion, and we want to engage our people. We collected all our soldiers, all our people around the world here.
Yes.
So thank you, Denise. Thank you for taking the
You're
time to give me some
welcome.
support. All
Y'all
right
have
then.
a blessed night. Be safe,
Yeah,
all right?
yeah.
Talk to you
All
soon.
right, you too. Take care.
You
Right.
too, mom. Have a blessed night.
All right, so guys, I mean, this thing is growing. Thank you, Isel, for taking the time to come on. Sumant and Dr. Puram Maraj. We're going to continue this discussion. I will try to set up something tomorrow night around the same time.
All right.
And see you else. All right, so around eight
Yeah.
o'clock.
Send me the email and send me Dr. Maraj's email as well, so I can send I most of the plan. I did it, so you all can have a look at it. Cursorily look at it and see how it
Yeah,
conforms to first world, second world, third world. But anything is better than what is in Trinidad at this point in time. It's a total mess. The health sector is
right, right,
total
right.
Yes.
Total,
The country
total.
is in a state of emergency. They
Yes.
place it like that. Dr.
Well,
Singh, want to say something to you
Tell
personally.
me. Tell me, sure.
I thank you very much, and I bless you as well for giving the opportunity for little children to have a computer. I touched a computer when I was 25 years of age.
Me too.
I am very
Me too.
grateful that the things that we did not had as children, that we have the opportunity or the power to give children something that we did not have. That is evolution. Thank you very much, and I bless you for that.
I touched my first computer at George Washington University when I went there to do my MBA in information systems. That was the
Right.
first place I touched a computer. You
We,
so
know,
we have
thank
the
you,
and
opportunity
gentlemen.
to give
Thank you
more.
very much.
Yes.
so we both on the
Isel,
same boat.
spread the word. What we're trying to do.
Yeah.
Isel, you there? Just spread the word to the people. What we're trying to do. Say hello to the family down in Labrea, Point 14. You can share the YouTube link to them, so they could view what we were talking about, what the idea is here, everyone. Please share
Of course,
the
will
link.
do.
All right, and I will be in touch with you, Isel. Tomorrow night, I want to try to do something else also.
All right, thanks again for the invitation, and you all take care.
All right then.
Take
Good
care,
night,
bye-bye.
everybody. Thank you very much. Good night to our listeners. Thank you for taking the
All
time.
right.
And this is your platform here at UNC. Thank you, Dr. Puran Maharaj and Dr. Sumant Singh. We'll be in touch, gentlemen.
Take
Okay.
care.
Thank you
Take
very
care.
much
Good night.
Good
as
night,
well.
everybody. Good night,
Thank you,
everybody.
Trinidad and
All right, good
Tobago.
night, everyone.
Yeah.
Good night.
Thanks again.